Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chris and Andre Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chris and Andre Show. We're glad you joined us. I'm Andre.
And I'm Chris.
And we also have friend of the show, Joe, with us. How's it going, Joe?
I'm alive!
Yeah, I know, right?
And
you're alive and well. You bailed on us with some conspiracy theory.
Last minute family excuse. Like, we can't even really be upset about it because it involved children.
Possible kidnapping, as you said.
But, I mean, as Andre will attest, I am not above using my child to deflect responsibility for my neglect of my commitments.
It's so lame.
Hey man, I was just glad I was able to give her at least one afternoon in the madness that is my life right now.
That's fantastic.
So, spent way too much money, but it was worth it.
We are very, very happy for you. We hope you guys had fun. Hope she had a good birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hate that credit card statement next month.
Yeah. That's next month. This is this month.
That's for future Joe. Yeah.
That's future Joe's problem. So it's been another interesting week. We had Andre's son Matthew on last week. Since he signed in as Matthew, I'm just going with Matthew, even though at times we called him Matt. I'm just always going to refer to him as Matthew. But I will say, as nice as it was to have Matthew on, I felt like it just there was an element, that was missing, and it was probably the clown porn element that was most.
You say it. You missed me. You missed my chaoticness.
Whatever. I published the episode, and 5 seconds later, I get a text message that's like, "Oh, I can already feel the love."
Having that said, Andre, you now how old is your son?
Just turned 22.
Oh, thank God. So I can say this, and I feel bad about it. He is a hottie. You need to watch out. You are going to have grandbabies in no time.
He has his
I was
children
impressed.
Are very good looking. Andre has some very good looking offspring.
When he was talking to his son and shit.
Man yourself.
Okay, you blew me away, dude. You showcased a positive relationship with your son. As a person of minority descent, as America would say it, that's very rare.
That is racist as you're like, oh.
Well, the white man says it's racist.
Dad.
The white man says it's racist.
How rare is that?
Hey, I came from a broken family, so I can say those kind of things.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Boom. But
go ahead.
When you told him you loved him, I was like, I kind of paused the video. I was like, oh my God, this is so cute. I'm like, all the anger that I wasn't there just went away, because I'm like, that wholesome moment needed to happen. He's going to cherish that when you die from accidental Christmas.
From accidental Christmas is that I'm going to kill Andre.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've already established that Teddy Bridgewater will be the death of Andre.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Well, it's the ones you don't see coming that get you.
I mean, you're not wrong. They'd be fools not to look into me at that point. But
no, but thank you. I love my kids. I'm very close with my family, so that means a lot. It's 100% legit, genuine. It's
100% life goals right there, man.
Yeah, thank you.
If I can go back in a time machine and have a better relationship with my father that didn't require me to get a divorce first, I would have done that.
Yeah, but you know what the nice thing is? You have the opportunity to have that type of relationship with your kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my oldest is a huge nerd. When we took her out on her birthday, she was grabbing everything Star Wars, Marvel. She pulled a freaking action figure off the shelf. Dad, you don't have this one. I'm like, yes, sweetheart, I don't have a lot of these anymore. But don't worry, we're gonna rebuild them.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, let me not take away from you guys. I am all about comic books today. I'm all about video games. I'm ready for that. So you talk about your old man stuff, and I'll take over.
I guess he's not wrong. We do have several years on him, so I guess we can dive into some of the old man cranky cranky pants, whatnot. Oh, Jesus Christ!
What is he eat? It's like a whole piece. It's a cookie.
It's a cookie the size of a plate.
Following tradition, baby. Bringing food every time.
Yeah, but I get the feeling like that was purchased with the forethought of
that wasn't purchased, baby. That wasn't purchased. That was made. I made that at home just for you boys.
Well, then that. All right. Well, with that being said,
4,000 calories.
It's time for politics.
So, a lot going on with this week in politics, and I just want to start
can
out.
I just say, hey, Joe, you.
For this?
No, not
this
you.
Really, it's
no,
tasty as
not
shit.
You, Joe Manchin.
See, that's why you gotta specify.
Sorry.
There's too
No,
many
I'm
Joes
sorry.
involved.
I realize that was totally on accident. I didn't have any. No,
my
but
creation was
seriously.
an accident too. Don't worry.
Are you pissed at Joe Manchin? Are you really pissed at Joe Manchin?
I think I'm broke.
I mean, I am in the sense that, like, I feel like he just wants the attention. I don't think that he actually cares about the fiscal, like, responsibility element of it. I feel like it's
I'm
all
interested.
posturing, but...
Give me a quick elevator speak. What happened?
So he had originally agreed to the framework of the Build Back Better, infrastructure bill and stuff like that, right?
Oh, not the build your wall bill.
No. But then it came out this last week that he was against continuing the child tax credit.
Ooh, yeah, that's a very unpopular opinion.
And basically said, there's no way forward, more or less. And I don't know if it's just posturing because he wants more for, people that live on yachts or whatever it is that he does. But I mean, he got the climate change stuff already stripped out. I just don't know. I guess what I'm frustrated with Joe Manchin is it's like, when is enough enough? Like, I feel like you've gotten a lot out of this already, and at some point, just say, okay, I got enough out of this one. I'm ready to move forward. But I don't know. I see, your note on here about, trying for small wins, and we've talked about that before. I do agree. Break some of this stuff out. It doesn't all need to be okay, take the child tax credit and pass it as its own thing, right?
Right.
I guess I'm just where I'm frustrated is I feel like he just keeps kind of teasing I'm on board, but I'm not really, and a part of it is the way that it's all portrayed in the media, and I understand that.
I 100% believe the media is part of the problem there. I think that his argument about the child tax credit and some of the salary requirements, those are valid arguments. I get frustrated with the Democrats. They do not know how to govern. And that is a big criticism of Democrats.
They need to balls up.
They don't know how to govern at all. They get super hyped up, they're super excited, and they drop the ball. And it's frustrating to watch. And when you hear about the voting rights bills that get stalled in Congress, again because they don't know how to govern. That is they're their own worst enemy.
What I think would be smart, right, is for each state with Democratic governors and enough people within the Congress to be able to get it passed to create laws that say any private individual can sue any other individual that makes it more difficult for people to vote than it already is. No. So what I'm trying to reference here is Governor
Texas.
Gavin Newsom, right, in California, who took the Supreme Court's what I would deem negligent behavior of allowing the Texas law to stand and said, okay, cool, if that's the way you guys want to play it, then California is going to work to pass a law that says that you can sue gun manufacturers who produce ghost guns and all these other types of weapons that are basically banned in the state of California already. Which, I mean, like, that's a pretty baller move, I think, overall. I'm curious to see where it ends up, right? Like, do we actually get to that point? Is it all just for social media, like, attention and this posturing, or is there real, like, legislative momentum behind that? But it's probably the best response that I've seen to the bullshit that the GOP has been doing.
So, and I like your take on it. Here's what I'll say that's probably, like, it's not going to be the popular opinion. Who cares what, like, we're going at this. So Gavin Newsom is doing the right thing, right? But when you look at California's legislative makeup, it actually helped me to figure something out. I've often said, how do we have, like, these really red states that have GOP legislatures? Yeah, but you have a
Democratic governors, right? Yeah, like North Carolina.
Right? Then I started doing a little bit of research and started poking around. These are all the same states that actually attack voting laws. So,
right, and that do like horrible gerrymandering.
Yeah, so it's like, so Alabama, not Mississippi, but Alabama was another one that kind of stood out at me. Or was it Kentucky? No, it was Kentucky. And it's like
shocking.
So you look at all these random states that have a Democratic governor. Their state legislators are typically GOP Republican led, and they're also the same culprits that do all this, like, low-key racist shit that nobody wants to own up to. But then people, they do the whole shell game and they shift the focus to the federal government. Yeah. First of all, let's try to start small. And my thing with the Democrats is, like, clean up your states. West Virginia does not matter. Like, at the end of the day, it does not matter.
True.
Oh man, so many West Virginians are so pissed right now. They'll never hear us say it though.
No, I'm saying when you look at the big, if you're going to go do the switch up on federal, right? If that's what the shell game is, go after states like Georgia that you can actually probably change those state legislatures, or you do the great chess move of having a Democratic governor that can veto the bills until you get into the BS game that North Carolina plays, where the legislature's saying, "Well, you can't veto bills, and we're gonna reduce your emergency powers." So, like,
no, we're just gonna reduce all of your powers in general the moment that you get elected, because we don't like that. I mean, this is literally the definition of, like, I don't like this, so I'm gonna take my ball and go home. Yeah. Like this, now you can't play at all, and it's such a childish way of viewing things.
But in Manchin's defense, his arguments are not wrong, right? They may not hold true across the board, right? So the argument of, like, the $400,000 salary max was unacceptable to him for the child tax credit, but then he said it should be $200,000. And I started thinking to myself, well, $200,000 makes sense in, like, the Southeast. It may make sense in the Midwest. It may not make sense in California, New York, right, or other states. So at some level that makes sense. It's a good argument, but it penalizes people that may live in a state where the cost of living is so much higher.
So in that case, I feel like what you have is, in the BBB, a default to, we're trying to help people that have the highest cost of living, right? We're looking at what is essentially, we feel like, the bare minimum that we could set it at, so that in places like California and New York, where the cost of living is so much higher, that you're still able to get the relief ultimately that you need. Yes, right. There will be some people in places like, Montana or Kentucky, where they don't need that relief and they're going to benefit from it anyways. But the idea is to make sure that people who need the relief are going to get it. And that's where I feel like more often than not, I get frustrated with I guess, like these arguments, because it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying, that like $400,000 is a lot of money. Those people don't need a child tax credit. And it's like, yes, not in all places they don't, but in some places they do. And because we're trying to address this at a federal level, not saying it's the best way, but that's what we're trying to do here, that's the only way we can really go about this. If we set it at 200,000, then there's people in California who are still not getting the relief that they ultimately need from this bill. And so unless you want to set it at, some percentage of cost of living, right, or whatever, I just...
And the hypocrisy from states like South Carolina, Kentucky, Alabama, Missouri, West Virginia, is there like and I think on average it's like for every dollar that they spend, they get like $3 to $4 of federal tax money.
Right.
So
they are literally living off federal welfare to exist as a state.
Yeah,
and yet they're the ones who want to sit there and claim that, well, welfare is for,
we don't want to make it an entitlement system.
Yeah, who don't want to work.
So go.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds a lot like Hawaii. Hawaii, think about, last statistic was like 86% of the populace is on food stamps.
Mm-hmm. Really?
And the food stamps they get, and the food stamps they get is in excess of $600 a person. Like, so if one family could have a couple thousand in food stamps a month, and it's a culture. Everyone's like, it's a culture of food stamps. Like, it's become so normal that when people pay for cash, they're like, whoa, hey brother, what's it called? It's that kind of stuff. Yeah. And but having that said, having a society so dependent on federal aid, and then seeing the flip side of it is so politically red, is confusing as shit to me. Because when I lived there, I was like, everything about this environment screams that this should be a blue state. But you guys are like driving around in Toyota Tacomas, with lift kits, and you're thinking you're all cowboys and trying to act like the reddest of the rednecks, which made me laugh like hell, because I'm from the South United States. You guys are nothing compared to them.
Hell, you could be driving your dad's Chevy pickup truck, but at the end of the day, like those guys took a freaking bailout bigger than anybody. Like,
right? Yeah.
I mean,
it created this weird thing. I was like,
don't get me started on GM.
I know.
It made me paranoid that there was like this one. When you see that dichotomy, you start to wonder, where are these people getting their information, and who's targeting the information towards them to think this way? Because if you live in a house full of ice and someone hands you an open flame and says this will keep your house cold, and you believe them, I'm going to start wondering why you think that way.
I don't disagree. I just think that the argument, the partisan argument there is weak, and I think that's what frustrates me and infuriates me. So Manchin and all of his, and again, I don't disagree with what he's saying, but it's not the complete picture, and it only caters to a certain part of the voters in West Virginia that may feel like, again, it's playing to the narrative that all, if you don't live in my state, you're an elitist, blah blah blah, or you may be more.
And but Joe Manchin isn't an elitist, right? I mean, that's where the massive disconnect is here. Like, the dude literally lives on a yacht in a state that is landlocked.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't like some dude that lives in Massachusetts and has a yacht on the harbor. Like, this dude literally went out of his way to get as far away from his constituents as humanly possible. And then live off of, like, the decimation of their beautiful countryside because of the coal plants that they want to continue to fund.
So, and ironically, there's a coal workers union that reached out to him to kind of get him to stop being so hard on this bill, because it would actually help some of the people that have been affected by the
work in the coal mines, right?
Yeah, by black lung disease. So we'll see what happens there if he's really so true to his coal roots and his constituents. I just don't buy it, and I really think that if you want to win, and it's not it's about being the right opposition to the other party, right? the Republicans know how to win elections more consistently. They know how to rig elections. They know how to rig state legislatures.
They know how to be opposition. I mean, like,
they know how to be opposition.
That is, yeah, like, it's not about who we are. It's about who we are not, and we are not them. And they are not who you want to be. Like, that's the whole message, right? It's don't be like the Democrats, be like us. Well, what are you guys like? We're anti-Democrats. Okay, well, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means we don't believe anything they believe. Well, what do you believe? Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, wait for them to tell us.
It reminds me of that clip from Key and Peele where he was doing the President Obama, and like the lawmakers come in and they're all like, we can't wait to say no to you. And he was like, I think we need harsher gun laws. And they're like, no. Wait, what the? He's like, higher tax rates for the poor. No! What are we doing? Like guys are cutting off their tongues and stuff. Like that's where I feel like that. They just looked at that and they went, what a brilliant idea to embrace as a party, right? Like it's not about what we are, it's about what we oppose. And all we have to oppose is everything that other party stands for. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter who it helps. All we know is that anything they want is bad. They are bad, and we are good because they are bad. Because we are the opposite of them, we must be good because we have defined them as bad.
So if I was a campaign manager for a Democrat, I would run up on Republicans. I would be in their face about all their BS.
Blah, blah,
blah. Yo.
Anyway, I start shooting.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you say run up on somebody, that's that's what I envision.
No comment.
No comment.
I'll let him have that one.
Yeah, but I would like but no talk. I mean, no joke, right? I would literally run up on him like, look, what are you calling me out about? What, right? And just like legit play their same game. And it's like Democrats don't get it. And just to kind of like tie this up in a neat bow, black lawmakers are threatening to cut off the K Street lobbyists until they have more diversity in their firms. So K Street is it's basically it's the place where all the lobbyists live in Washington D.C. That's where they live, work, and play. It's like the Wall Street of professional liars and stuff like yeah. So I read that article and I was thinking to myself, but why would you fall into that? Like I wouldn't hold any meetings with those clowns. It just kind of makes me think like it actually supports my belief that none of them are good people. Like I have not met a lobbyist or read about a lobbyist that has real intentions to do better for anybody except for their selfish industry. Yeah. Actually, I take that's a broad stroke. I've actually met a couple people that I know a guy that is a lobbyist. I met people that deal with like some of these big.
A guy who works in that
industry? I do.
And you didn't stab him?
I mean, he's a nice
guy. That didn't occur to you?
He's actually. His arguments aren't bad, but it's like it makes me wonder. It does make me wonder, like, what's as far as like being a citizen, what's my voice? Do I relegate my voice to an organization that may not have my best interests at heart? Good example, the NRA, right? Good example would be the NRA. The NRA.
I'm like, was there a glitch in the Matrix? Like, what the F just happened there? No, I mean you're not wrong.
Facebook is part of a lobby. These. Right,
no, so like, but I think right, like what the idea behind lobbying and lobbyists, what it originally like I think was conceived of, has been so like
commercialized.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, like it was originally supposed to give marginalized groups a better opportunity to hear their voice heard at the federal level, right?
Sure,
I mean,
more or less.
When soda companies spend millions and billions of dollars a year to make sure that corn syrup prices stay, fixed.
Yeah.
So that their drinks don't go down in price. Like,
No, that's
that should
actually
tell you.
it's actually Ronald Reagan's fault.
Yeah.
That was a trade war problem, and we were losing in trade. So he kind of inflated the corn syrup thing, but that's semantics, right?
But so like I think of Jon Stewart, right, who's gone to Congress several times now to lobby, right, on behalf of 9/11 first responders and their continued benefits. And I look at that and I say, like, that's what that role, that's what that job was originally supposed to be.
That's a true lobbyist.
That's like that dude is not in that for self, enrichment in any way, shape, or form. Like, he sees a group that is not represented and is not being heard and says, I will help to be your voice. Like, I will help to get you representation and to make sure that your concerns are heard at the highest level. And that's the thing that got taken as, this is a great idea. And then corporations, right, or private interest groups came in and said, we love that, right? We can just throw billions of dollars at these people to just go in and convince, the government to write the laws the way that we want them written, as opposed to having them written any other way. And so
sure.
Those
Jon
are
Stewart. Sorry.
Those are all facts. No, but go ahead.
I was just going to make a little anecdote, little segment. But Jon Stewart, every year he goes in front of the representatives and pleads his case again. Less of the original people that went with him, the 9/11 survivors,
are alive.
Workers and survivors, are alive. So he made his last outcry. He said that he's like, 50 of us are no longer here since we started this.
Yep.
My
just
problem,
waiting for us to die.
My problem with representation of, especially at the federal level, and this is where I probably get the most pissed off. It's like we spend a lot of time trying to appease just to get in front of an audience or make an audience in front of people that don't even care about us. So
sure.
At what level does that become, or when do we say enough's enough?
Well, and why are we the ones that they don't care about anymore, right? Right. It's gotten to the point now where the lobbyists are the ones that are important, and whatever it is that they're pushing is what the politicians are going to ultimately listen to. Whereas the constituents themselves, the people who voted and put them into office because of the things that they campaigned on that we believe to be true, are left holding the bag. Like, we're left sitting here going like, dude, you said that you were going to do this stuff, and then you get into office and all of a sudden you have no problem. I mean, look at Kristen Sinema, right? Holy cow. Girl runs on all of this, like, I'm a rebel, I'm against this, I'm this, and then immediately gets into office and is like, oh, I can line my pockets with lobbyist money, and all I have to do is sell my souls and every principle I ever stood for and completely sell out my constituency and all of the people that dedicated their personal time and money and effort to help me get elected. That's all I have to do? Sign me up.
Again, so black lawmakers, you threaten to cut them off?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Like, I'm not sitting here wondering why. I don't care about what these people have to say.
This is a Nike commercial now, man.
Yeah. So I'm just saying real talk. I mean, and I think about it like, I don't know if you guys have ever caught one of Facebook's ads where they want regulation for the internet. You guys have got to check those ads out.
Oh, no, I mean, I've seen them, and I can't stand them. When you say Facebook ads now, all I think of is their attempts to brainwash America into thinking that Facebook and Meta are different things in a sense, and that somehow because they have tigers that are bouncing their heads and dancing in the commercial, that, this is going to be fun. Yeah, what I really want is you having complete access to my entire surroundings and not just all of the personal information that I've already put into the platform that you... Yeah, I'm just saying,
all right, black lawmakers, don't seriously, and I'm just going to say it. I don't want to with these people, man. Shit. Like, write laws. This is where I give AOC a lot more respect because I don't agree with everything she says, but she's going out for what she believes in. I don't rock with Bernie Sanders on a lot of things he says. He says some pretty off the wall stuff.
But at least he's trying.
Yeah,
I'm full belief he's going to die mid-speech one day.
Yeah, I mean, probably, unfortunately. Like, that's... but, I mean, do you think Bernie would rather go out any other way?
Do you think Bernie has a box of coupons?
I am here, once again, asking you to attend my funeral in 5 minutes.
I swear to God, that is so... up. That is the most up thing you've ever said, Like, I am not co-signing that shit.
That's so not the most up thing I've ever said. I have said so much worse things before. That was hilarious. Like, Bernie Sanders would hear that and laugh.
He was a good sport about the meme that happened for a while.
Yeah.
Because he put Shorty on. She made
he was so angry.
She made a lot of bag. The bag about the gloves. Oh, I mean, she made a nice little bag on that joint. Yeah. So I respect him for doing that. And again, I don't fly anybody's banner like that. I'm just saying, like, like, first of all, black lawmakers, stop clowning yourselves. These guys don't care about you. Like,
before we leave politics, and because you're kind of on this. I was laughing because there's this dude on Carolina Beach Road who he's had like F Biden, like banners and stuff like that flying in front of his house. He recently put a new one up. It's not even like on a flagpole. It's just tacked up on a tree, like between the two, tree branches that are splitting off. And it says, "Hiding from Biden." And I can't tell.
There's a guy nearby who does the same thing here. I think
is it Joe Biden's picture that's in like the H?
It is.
Because the first few times I drove by, I couldn't tell because it's kind of cartoony, and I thought it was Trump. And I'm like, did this guy flip all of a sudden?
No, it's Joe Biden in the Kilroy pose, like over the thing with his nose sticking out.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be Biden's hiding from Trump. That's the whole thing.
Man.
So, you have your people like that. I met there was a guy in Hawaii who was like that. He went down into the children's parks and spread his conspiracy.
I mean, there's another dude who parks up by Tregembo on Sundays, and he's always got his like minivan, and he's got all the towels and flags and shirts and stuff that are all just like draped over it. And this weekend he had a "Let's Go Brandon."
I just want on a real note, why do we not have like Republican branded dildos?
Because Ted Cruz.
If you're gonna fuck somebody over, do it directly.
No, Ted Cruz wants them banned.
Got a mold of it, and it was like only that big.
I just feel like, the second that you whip that out, most women are just like immediately turned off. So,
except the most whitest and purest of the daisies.
Yeah, all right. I've had enough of this.
But then they want to use it because religion was so. Hey, we get enough of this. It was great.
Life.
Let me stop eating this cookie.
Start talking about how white people are.
To a white man, he slammed the door on me.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's right.
Yeah, well,
just remember who's in charge here.
Yeah. Whoa. What?
Oh. You want to make this kinky? I can make this kinky. Don't start.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm
scared. He looks scared.
I'm gonna excuse Chris's tomfoolery. I know that was a joke, but your people, you guys have got like, for real, your boy Elon Musk. Yo, for real, how did he get? What is it? Times Person of the Year?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. Apparently, they're letting robots in as.
Especially in a year where Keanu Reeves exists.
Yeah, that's fair. Keanu had a great year this year.
A great year. He's done a lot of like charity work too. People forget that he does that. But
what about Chadwick Boseman? That would have been a good one, right? Anyways, the point is Elon Musk is a douche, and And
he falls short on his promises.
Yeah,
very short on his promises.
I mean, have we all forgotten the Tesla truck demo with the
or the
rock
Tesla
that
wall,
he threw
or
at
the Tesla roof?
Yeah,
or can we stop
Tesla
worshiping
truck.
these people? Like,
I mean,
we just,
I'm
like,
with
flat
you.
out, flat out, like.
But he's not like, this isn't new, right?
All right, but you pick a billionaire, whether it be Steve Jobs, whether it be Jeff Bezos, whether it be Elon Musk, whether it be Jack Dorsey.
Yeah.
You pick one. You can just like go down the list of all the richest. Warren Buffett. Mm-hmm. What makes these people so special?
People are attracted to power and opportunity.
Those people have a lot of money. That's it.
A lot of times people want to just follow them and see what scraps they can pick up. That maybe I can somehow get to that position in life. In reality, most of them are just flukes of nature. They were at right time, right place.
Well, that's
wrong person
not
with the right idea.
That's not entirely true. I think that there is a certain level of skill to reaching that type of success, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's kind of cliche, right? But luck, in a lot of ways, is where preparation meets opportunity. Like, yeah, you have the opportunity. You, and so in that way, I guess, like, it's lucky. But the fact that you're ready and in a position to be able to take advantage of it is what ultimately makes you successul, or because you're willing to take the risk on it, right? I mean,
exactly. Or you're willing to be consistent and push forward. So you look at Ray Kroc, Colonel Sanders,
the Chris and Andre show,
Dave Thomas.
People are all basically in that same upper echelon there of just consistently delivering quality products on a regular basis to customers that can't get enough.
And then occasionally pushing out defective ones.
I'm just like, I'm completely
Henry
corrupting. Ford.
If you look at any of the industrialists that actually built most of the American economy in the modern age, they all failed. Right? They had a lot of failures, but
look at
they
the Wright
weren't
brothers, right? I mean, how many times did those guys crash before they finally got one?
But they literally weren't and I get kind of offended when North Carolina says first in flight. They weren't. so I didn't like to bring up the Wright brothers, but you're right. Thomas Edison. There's countless, Marie Curie. Like, there's countless of people throughout history that failed more often than that one-off home run, or even sometimes a base hit. Because it's just the way it is. Or you get the whitewashing of history, and you go through like some of those same people I just listed and say, yeah, but they didn't really invent this; somebody else did.
Yeah.
So,
like the homeboy who made the peanut butter machine, the machine that helps make peanut butter. He was completely I forgot his name. It's a testament to North Carolina education. Last week, it's like I know a racist thing happened, but I don't know when and why. It just happened.
But it's just like, we got to stop. I mean, we literally give these guys we give them too much credit.
Yeah.
We criticize them, but at the same time, we keep trying to quote unquote elevate them.
Yes.
Right?
We want them to be the pinnacle of our society, right? Like, we keep looking at, and it's not just tech, right? Like, I think tech is where the focus is right now, but it's been, I mean, like, it was oil at one point, right? Like, what's his name? Carnegie. You've had all of these, even, like you said, you mentioned Warren Buffett. Like, that's a guy that people look at and are like, what an amazing, brilliant mind to be able to identify all of these successful companies over time.
The shitty thing about Warren Buffett is he's one of the most humble motherfuckers on the planet.
Sure.
Like, he literally, and that's one thing, I'm like, again, he's not a role model, but there are some characteristics about his level of success where he's been extremely consistent.
So, and I think that's part of it, right? Like, you talked about whitewashing. I think there is, even aside from, who invented what, there is an element of wanting to make it all seem so, Hollywood, that, the myth of George Washington and the cherry tree, where it's we have to create these stories, to make these people seem like they're so much better than, it's just I could never tell a lie, right? We all hear that and we're like, shit, I've told tons of lies at different times in my life, especially as a kid. When you hit that age, you're like, oh man, like I'm no George Washington. But the whole point of that is, right, not for us to look at that and say that's what we need to be. We need to be perfect all the time, but to give us to something to aspire to. You know,
Right.
something like, if only I could be that honest, right? If only I could find the strength within myself to be able to communicate that openly and honestly without fear or, you know, of repercussions or whatever, you know. But yeah, like I think it's just one of those things where it's like tech is the group that we're focused on right now, and we happen to be at a point also where, well, but see, that's not even true, because you think it, like, I was going to say that we're at a point where, like, the greed in capitalism or the greed in society is greater than it has been, but I think you look at guys like, you know, Carnegie and those guys who were around, like, those guys were greedy as like, they were ruthless. And
Rockefeller had
that's the name that kept escaping me. Thank you.
You had a sense that only the rich and wealthy were smart enough to make decisions for the rest of us, and that was this. That's not capitalism. That's that's communism's big brother, right? And like, if you want to, like, say, forget how your market works, but who controls the market? I hate to say that. That's a communist way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
This free market bullshit that we talk about is not really free market. It's not a free. You can't even start a large enterprise without having all this bureaucry.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not a free
freedom
market.
isn't free. It costs folks like you and me.
Yeah.
And if
So,
you don't pay your $1.05, who will?
And then we have this, like, we take this worship level.
Said that with a straight face too. Oh man.
We take this worship level to a whole nother degree when you introduce a Joe Rogan.
Oh,
Like, I'm gonna straight up say it. Joe Rogan.
Our podcast is better than the Joe Rogan experience.
Man, Joe Rogan. He's a dumbass piece of shit.
You have a superior Joe right here.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, everybody keeps gassing this guy up. He's like, sure, he's fit, he's healthy, blah blah blah. He's like the stereotypical, like, college bro motherfucker.
He's fit as a horse, which is why he took ivermectin when he contracted COVID.
But I can't take this fucking clown seriously.
No, I mean, that's the problem. Like, dude was on a show where, as the host, he encouraged people to eat disgusting things. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I just do that as a kink, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are plenty of people who would sign up for
I
that
watched one of his
thing.
comedy specials on Netflix. He was actually kind of funny, and I'm like, I kind of rock with that, right? But then the more I start listening to it, like, I've watched a couple parts of his, like, podcast because he keeps getting all this press. He's a fucking idiot.
He is. Like,
It's fucking embarrassing that we have relegated, like, a portion of our society, like, especially American youth, to respect this guy as knowing anything. He's the least humble piece of shit I've ever met.
I don't disagree with your assessment there. Where I think we're at is that they're, like, in a lot of ways, society, right, or like younger generations see an abdication of responsibility at the. You and I were talking about this last week, or maybe it was earlier today, like with the news media organizations and the way that this stuff is all reported, where it's like they don't trust those groups anymore, and so they start looking for other sources of trusted news. And I'm not saying that that Joe Rogan should be one of those, but we talk about luck, right? Like, he's somebody who was at the crossroads of, I'm willing to sit here and let people spout out whatever ridiculous shit they want, and I will go along with it and pretend like it makes sense and ask questions and not dissuade it in any way, shape, or form, at the same time that people were willing to engage with that type of stuff, right? Like,
you know who I thought actually did that better, but in a positive way?
Who?
Stephen Colbert. From when he had the
Sure.
Colbert Report, he did it as a comedy skit initially for Jon Stewart, and it just kind of grew into his own show. But a lot of that, even though he perpetrated a character of, like, righteous republicanism, it was very let this idiot speak to me and like he would invite Republicans and pretend to be Republican, and they would somehow never. Part of me
no
thought
idea.
that some of them were like, you do know he's making fun of you, right? And they were just going like all in, like saying the racist ridicule and stuff. So like it's ridicule, sorry. So I think that was a one-off. I really wish the Stephen Colbert thing continued.
He said wheelie. I really wish.
Wheelie. I have a list, sir.
I was not going to point it out, even though I noticed, and Andre just like, no, man.
I pronounce birthday as birth. I can't help it.
All right,
so
so I will not
if you want to pick on my shortcomings,
he has no room to speak. Ask him to pronounce water.
Let's keep
how you
going.
say it? No, I want to hear it. How you say it? How you say it? I want to hear it.
I'm not performing for you. It's water.
What?
That is the cleanest I've ever heard him pronounce it.
I was expecting him to say water. I've heard a lot of people say
Usually
like
there's
that.
an extra
Water.
R in there. It's like water.
Water?
Water.
That's cool. That's like violent water. I like it.
I love
Imagine
you,
water
Andre.
that's just designed to kill you.
I swear to God. All right, come on.
With you because you were giving Joe shit.
But no, really, no, I think
The
that
wascally
was
wabbit.
an interesting, right? I think that was an interesting time seeing Stephen Colbert using his position to push a lot of
I was
charity.
so bummed when he
Went to
left
his own show
to go
yeah.
do the Late Show, and I've watched some of it.
But
and
why
I
not?
like-
Well, no,
No,
he
no, no.
stated he just had it. He stated he just was too stressed. It
And
became
I,
too stressful.
I
being a
understand
figurehead.
why he did it. I was just disappointed because I loved that element of it for so.
So
like,
the social commentary is not the like. I'm not opposed to that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I agree with like where Joe Rogan fits in. Where I like fundamentally disagree is, and even Colbert. Like I'm not a big Colbert fan. It's like it's cute. I probably was in my conservative phase in life. I didn't
I
think
was
that
gonna
shit was
say,
funny.
if you went
Like,
back and watched it now, I think you
That
might
shit would be funny.
appreciate it more. But
Yeah. But then it was like, I think I knew he was mocking people, and it's like, yo, you guys are getting like done up.
yeah, you guys are getting
But-
played, and you're letting him do it.
Yeah. But Joe Rogan, like, again, fuck Joe Rogan. Like that's how I feel about it. And it's not
just-
like
It's funny because like he's had guests on that I respect and who have said things that like make sense, and like there are interesting episodes to sit there and listen to, right? But I think we get to this point, like, and I think this is kind of what you're getting at is like this elevation, this deifying, right, of these individuals as whatever it is that they say, because
That's
we've
the law.
elevated them to this position, must be gospel. And
Yeah.
so
I think
that's
part
where
of
you
that
end up
just
with
gives-
with people like Aaron Rodgers that take ivermectin.
Aaron Rodgers too.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who, by all accounts, prior to that, seemed like he was a relatively intelligent individual. I mean, the guy hosted Jeopardy. Like, and I'm not saying that like you have to be super smart, but I'm just saying like
That's fair.
he went to Cal. It's like that's
Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to. I'm not saying like.
you would look at somebody like that and say like you should know better.
To be clear,
right?
right? Like how smart you are, how well you can consume information, has nothing to do with how intelligent you are.
No, I mean,
how
like,
well you can execute information. right?
My college roommate had this girlfriend, right? She became a doctor, I'm pretty sure. If you had interacted with her prior to her like becoming a doctor, I don't think there's any way you'd ever let her like do any sort of procedure or operate on you, because she
There's a
is
couple
one of
procedures I
like
think she can do.
so book smart. You don't even know what she looks like.
At this point, it doesn't matter, man.
That's
It's just me in the comic books.
yeah. Very sweet, but just like super book smart. No common sense. No common sense whatsoever. And so, like, there's lots of people like that. I get that, but
to be fair, I don't think like a Joe Rogan or an Aaron Rodgers gives a shit what we say. But I want to be clear. There like for everybody that thinks that they're the what is it, the unheard minority or majority?
the silent majority?
Silent.
Oh God, I hate that.
God,
term, man. It's so
fucking-
stupid.
That makes no fucking sense. It's like the
Silent
most ignorant
majority.
shit I've ever heard in my life. And I
if
think
you're
it's a bunch of-
silent and you're part of the majority, whose fault is that?
That's a you problem, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be part of the majority or the group of people that say that yo, Joe Rogan.
Right.
Like, he's not that fucking...
You're part
That's
of the vocal
silent majority.
minority.
Yeah, we're the vocal minority.
Yeah, that says Joe Rogan.
I'm
He's
part
like,
of the minority, guys. Finally.
We see a couple of red hairs in that beard.
Thanks a lot for just like the open arms embrace there that I got. I'm finally like,
hey man, you talking about rolling?
Well, you know, I don't do that.
shut up, Joe.
I just want to, like, and it's not like it's not.
I was so
like,
sad that you were not on the podcast last week, and that we had Zoom the week before, because I had that queued up and ready to go.
Really?
Yes.
Like, you just like you spent actual time in your day.
I was editing an episode, and it was towards the end of the episode, and you said something. I was just like, "Shut up, Joe," and I was like, I've got to clip that. And it takes only like 5 seconds. And so I just grabbed it and I exported it and I uploaded it. And then we had
you just got a button for it.
Yep. So now we have a Shut Up Joe button. You're welcome.
But anyway, so again,
Sorry.
it's not. It's more of a thing. Like, for me, it's like, I don't think we should be gassing up these people if they're not speaking things that are beneficial for the entire like collective in general. I just think it's stupid. It's pathetic. It's lazy.
Somebody said this to me, and it really made sense. It is easier to agree with the louder voice in the room when you have no opinion of yourself.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I think that's the reason. It's just people see it as an easy way to be affiliated with the discussion, feel represented, feel like they're intelligent enough to having said something wise, and then just going on the rest of their day.
But it keeps going back to what we keep talking about. It's like where people, like, they just want to feel a part of something.
Yeah, they want to feel understood, right? They want to feel like this is a belief that I have, and I want people to hear me about it. And
well, I think Joe Rogan's going to get a lot of motherfuckers killed. It's no different than Donna Jehoshaphat Triana Trump. I call him Donna. I don't give a fuck about him.
no, I mean,
either.
that's cool. I was just sitting here like, who are we? Donna?
Yeah, Donna, like, Donald Trump too. It's like, these guys are going to get people killed. I have children, right? And
sex with him. Why would you have sex with him?
I don't, because dude's got money. He had money. I don't know. Maybe.
I know, but like, what kind of person you have to be in your mind to be like, money means I you? Because like, I've been.
Have you
near
seen
my
his
bank
wife?
account.
Have you seen his wife?
I know, that's the part I'm confused about. When I seen her slap his hand when they were trying to walk, was so great. I was like,
she's playing the long game.
She's playing. She's just like,
he's about that big.
He's 73. He's gonna die soon. You know, she's gonna get a little bit of paper.
You say that, but I think he's stubborn. He'll make it at 90 somehow.
I hope he does.
It'd be like Fallout, and he'd be in a machine keeping him alive.
Don't get me on my I don't like Donald Trump joint, because it takes me to a dark place.
Yeah, we'll spend the rest of
what do we? We're not already in a dark place?
No, it's just like we did politics for the entirety of last week's episode, in large part because we didn't have somebody to break us off from that.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
You saying me. You didn't have a chaotic neutral.
I know we've already moved on to life, but we're still kind of dabbling.
I want to talk.
Political...
I want to talk about this one thing. So this kid in Colorado, he's like 23, 24, driving the semi truck. Again, so he got 110 years. Let me start with that. 110 years, driving on I-70. His brakes went out. And people were like he killed, like, I think 4 people died and like 28 other people were severely injured in this accident. And I don't want to relitigate the case. I will say this. This is how I feel about it. Yes, he probably had decisions to make as a truck driver. Yes, he probably could have taken the emergency runoff ramps, but Colorado, f*** you for 110 years. Like, you can't give somebody 110 years for, like, even if it's bad judgment. He was not intentional. For the judge to say that it was not intentional and to understand that, but to be held down by some bullshit law, 110 years it's fucking ridiculous. There's like, at the time I looked, it was like 3 million and some change signatures on this Change.org petition. But please, United States of America, please tell me, if you can, with a straight face, that the laws in this country have no bias.
Well,
I'm waiting.
I mean, that situation, right? Like, the law itself, I don't think is... It's the application, right? It's the way that things are being adjudicated here. To say that the mandatory sentencing, for this type of punishment requires
The minimum
X number of years. Yeah, absolutely. Which is a stupid way to look at things, It's probably some politicians' promise on being tough on crime, Like, I'm tough on crime, and I'm going to institute mandatory, 25-year sentences for anybody involved in reckless endangerment when it comes to motor vehicles. Now, granted, like, I've been to Denver, I've been to Colorado. Their traffic and the road situation that they've got going on there is a freaking nightmare. Like, the growth that place experienced after they legalized marijuana, they were so unprepared for it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, what they did was they basically completely eradicated any places for the homeless that they were living by renovating all of that and gentrifying it to make new space. So then what did the homeless do? They moved to where all the people are, which is like the mall, like DC's mall kind of.
Right.
They have this long stretch where they have like, what do you call them? Like cable cars, basically, trolleys or buses that you can ride. It's all walking and supposed to be, but there's just hundreds and hundreds of homeless people camped out there. And the traffic trying to get to and from the airport and stuff like that from downtown is a nightmare. So I don't know.
110 years.
Right.
You're fucking kidding me, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no, like, and the governor's like, I'm not saying...
And OJ got away with murder.
Oh, man. That motherfucker did get away with murder. Like, I'm not going to lie. Shit.
I'm sorry. I don't know why that came to mind.
Yeah, but he did, I mean...
he definitely did,
But my...
To be fair, right? Like, I mean, we kind of owed black people one, so...
Just waiting for that Latino curve to come around.
All right, this dude, and my wife she's not happy about this, right? I mean, but it's like it's a non-white problem. Like, in most people that signed the goddamn petition, guess what? No offense, they're not white. It's like,
why is
and I'm
why
reading
would that
through
be no offense?
Because when you think about, here's why. Here's why. Because we talk about these issues in our society, right? And everything's, like I said last week, it's all good until it's not all good.
Yeah.
If people don't care about the issue of the week, like example George Floyd, right? No shit. Everybody was upset about racial inequality for a minute until it wasn't important.
Right. And then they got upset a year later when it was the trial, and then we've all moved on now.
Yeah. It's like these things are, it's not justified. Like, we can't look at our legal system and say that the way that we execute laws in this country are justified or they're balanced for everybody.
No, you're absolutely right.
Nobody can tell me that shit with a straight face.
Look at like our education system and what we try to do there in terms of justice, right? Or policing, where you have these zero tolerance policies, right? Because that makes sense. Let's have a policy in place.
No, but the only reason why that shit makes sense is when, like, you have these school shootings. I'm going to keep it real. Right?
Yeah, no.
Even the poor kids at Parkland.
Yep.
And that was a predominantly white, upper middle class school.
But my point is, aside from potential violence, right, being executed against classmates, I just think the idea of a zero tolerance policy on anything, like, I don't know. I just think in the end, like, you have to look at each individual case. It can't be that we're just going to blanket, judge every case based on whatever key, circumstances we've looked at. I think, like, that's where I get frustrated is with, because I mean, yes, like, look, they had this thing last week, right, on TikTok, where there was a challenge to basically issue threats of violence against your own school or against schools in your area. And so,
no shit, really?
Yeah,
That's
Thursday
horrible.
night, I get a call, a text, like 15 different ways to communicate from my kid's school that were aware of this challenge on TikTok. Like the local police department and sheriff are on alert and have been, made aware as well. We are taking any threats seriously. It came and went without any, real issues, at least not here.
For here, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, for here.
Exactly. But it was one of those where I'm sitting there like Thursday night going, what the actual, like,
Yeah.
why
off
are
with
kids,
cold
like
water
elementary
buckets
school kids
and
on
now we're-
TikTok? You gotta be kidding me. Like,
So where are our superheroes, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, on these issues?
and Mark Zuckerberg, right?
And Mark, yeah, these guys, man. I just want to say it again because it'll make me feel so much better.
I know I'm on
Joe Rogan.
but you guys really test them.
I'm sorry,
Musk.
dude. We're gonna get to the better stuff eventually.
How about we do that anyway? Let's go to sports.
No. Let's not just take your time. Use all you, because when it's my turn, I'm gonna destroy this podcast.
Andre's right
Oh, you're
though.
going-
If we spend too much more time here, we're gonna go down a dark hole, and then
Yeah, let's
it'll
go
be
to
hard
sports.
to pull us out of it.
Only dark holes are like the young clowns.
Oh,
All right.
not my
All I got to
fault.
say is this. I said it early.
Well,
before the
okay,
season
to
started.
be fair, you said that Teddy Bridgewater was going to kill you. It turns out he almost killed himself.
I said he's going to get himself hurt.
Oh, okay,
I
you
did
did
say
say
that.
that. You did say that.
And what did he do? He ran
No,
head first.
Yeah.
Head first. Get him the... Look, John Elway. Look, I've been a fan of yours since I was... Literally, you played number 7. That was your number. I was 7 when I became a Broncos fan. Like, that's how... Like, yo... Please take Teddy Bridgewater off the field, yo.
Well, I don't think you
Please.
have to worry about that for the rest of this season.
Trade him. Get rid of Peyton. He's garbage, yo. Whoever let him make trade decisions, God, I hope it wasn't you, but please, he's not making good decisions. Maybe he gets one more season, but
Well, so my
Yeah.
understanding when Peyton was brought in was that they were still all reporting to Elway, so it didn't really matter. Their structure, it was basically like they brought in somebody to blame for all of Elway's terrible decisions as a
all right,
as
you
a
will not.
GM.
You will not do that. We will not be doing that.
I'm not, no, dude. I'm not trying to like throw Elway under the bus, but you got to admit, other than getting Peyton Manning to come there and win the Super Bowl, the dude has basically like driven the offense of that team, at least, into the dirt. Like, I am a John Elway fan. Okay, like
I
rooted for the dude
I cannot bring myself
when
to
he
like,
won
LA
those
is
2
fighting.
Super Bowls and then retired. Like, what a baller way to go out! That freaking the helicopter touchdown. Like, seriously,
Yeah,
I have mad
I-
respect for that dude as a quarterback. But I can also sit here as an objective fan, and I understand that you are not that.
I am not.
In
I am
this
not.
case, I get that. But I can look at this and say, dude, you are just not doing a great job as a GM here.
I want Fangio gone. I want Peyton gone. I don't want to see Teddy Bridgewater ever get another snap in a Denver uniform.
He won't.
And I don't give a shit if they trade Drew Lock at this point.
Yeah, he's probably gone too.
But I think they need a reset. Let's
Let's
find
trade
the
for
money.
Russell Wilson.
I'll take Russell.
Let's
Shit,
bring
I'll
him
even-
in.
I'll take Russell. I'll take you know what? I'll take Colin. I want Colin Kaepernick. I bet you Colin Kaepernick goes to Denver and wins a Super Bowl.
Did you know? I mean, what it's been? It was
3
the
years.
year. Well, the year that Kaepernick left the Niners, they were all like, basically, everybody was like, the Broncos. Broncos should sign Colin Kaepernick right now.
Yes.
And literally, they've had the opportunity to do that every single season since
Just saying.
he stopped playing. And
I want Kaepernick to take some snaps on the Broncos. I bet you.
it's not going to
I
happen.
bet you.
mean,
No shit. I bet you $1,000. You and me. I bet if Denver got Kaepernick, they go to the Super Bowl.
okay. I'll take that action. If Denver signs Colin Kaepernick, That's it. They just have to sign him. He doesn't have to start a game. They just have
he's
to
got to
sign
start.
him.
No, he's got to start. Yeah,
That's why I'm asking.
He's got to get snaps. He's got to get play time. They go to the Super Bowl.
Colin Kaepernick plays a full season, 17 games for the Denver Broncos. They go to the Super Bowl that season.
Yes.
$1,000.
$1,000.
All right.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Yeah, I don't have much in the way of sports, except NC State's entire football team has apparently decided to come back for next season. My biggest concern is that this smells a lot like Carolina last season, where, and I'm not doing this to like try and throw Carolina under the bus, but
I didn't put any Carolina notes in because we took an L that I don't think.
I not even on the basketball side. I'm just talking football. But like last offseason, Carolina had a good win in the bowl game. They had Sam Howell coming back, but they lost like their top receiver and their top 2 running backs, right? So State now has Devin Leary coming back, but they lost to Mecca Emezi, so like their top receiver, and one of their top running backs, Ricky Person. Now Bam Knight is still supposedly looking at coming back, but he hasn't made the official decision yet. So I'm as much as I'd love for next year to be NC State's year, I'm going to be so cautiously optimistic that it's going to borderline on pessimism.
Shit, I just put a ban on Colin Kaepernick not getting any professional snaps in 4 years, like winning the Super Bowl.
No, I mean that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard you say, which is why when you were willing to put $1,000 down on it, I'm like, and we're recording this. Yeah, I'll take that money. Take that money all day long.
You won't. You're gonna have to you have to write a check.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let's go to pop culture.
Yes, this is what Joe's been waiting for.
Pop culture.
So Joe, I literally just put it my normal bet is 25 cents on anything.
Yeah.
So,
I bet a quarter. That's what he's like. I bet a quarter.
Wait, what did you bet?
We just bet $1,000.
Oh, for what?
That if the Denver Broncos sign Colin Kaepernick to play quarterback and he plays a full season, 17 games.
This is real money. This is real money.
Real money. That they will go to win the Super Bowl? Was it win the Super Bowl? Or go to a Super Bowl?
Go to
the Super Bowl. I will even take that.
If you need an escrow for your funds, I'm your man. I only charge a 2.3% interest.
I was going to say, what's the vig on that? It's got to be pretty high.
No, it's just enough to buy another comic.
No, and that's what's funny is that this is not a usual thing. Andre and I never bet money, but
yeah, I don't bet.
When he's willing to throw out some ridiculous statement like all the Denver Broncos need is to sign Colin Kaepernick now, and they will go to the Super Bowl, I can't help but jump at the opportunity to make $1,000. So,
what are you talking
about?
Pop
culture.
All right, so you guys saw Spiderman No Way Home. Mm-hmm. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
What's up?
Joe, I'll let you go first since I got to go first last time.
No, please, your podcast. You go
can
first.
I tell you what I think?
Andre. Okay, this is even better. Tell us what you think about the movie you haven't seen yet.
I think it's going to be a B- at best. And I'm in no rush to see it.
What did you think of the first two movies?
Cool. I'll go first. No, I'll go first. That got me.
Actually,
B-? B-? What the f*** is that?
Do you not?
God damn!
This is what I have to deal with week in and week out on this podcast.
B-. It is the best thing Sony has ever done with that franchise. They've been throwing balls and seeing what hits, and nothing hit as good as it should have. It was always shortcoming. Venom was like a miracle, and then they f***ed it up with the second one, because I just watched that too. They f***ed it up with the second one. God damn. And then they put a cliffhanger at the end, being like, oh, you're going to see Venom again. No, this is not even a spoiler. I'm not going to spoil it. Because they didn't use him.
Nope.
They didn't use him.
Nope. They're all
Why?
like, oh, here he comes. And then you get to the end of the movie and you're like...
Okay, just speaking on Venom alone, between Venom and Carnage, between Venom and Carnage, those two movies, Eddie Brock was such in a good mental headspace. He came to his own. He was feeling himself at the end of this first movie. And in the second movie, they backpedal all of that. Mm-hmm. They just make him a whiny bitch. I'm tired of this you in my head and all this shit. Motherfucker, you're Venom. Go eat somebody. I literally saw you eat one person as Venom, and that's the Carnage. Everyone else is just like, what was it? I'm a violent protector or something. Like you. What are you protecting? I did not see you save anybody. You did not do shit. Okay. As for Spider-Man. As for Spider-Man.
That's what I signed up for.
They were so
We all
close.
know Venom suck.
They could have this up. I was waiting for them to it up because, like, as Sony does, they gave too much on the trailer.
Yeah.
They gave too much in the trailer. They should never have showed.
Okay, so
Doc Octavius.
Yeah, exactly. Right, like they could have teased it with like the claw coming out, right, but not actually seeing him. You know, or like there were other things. Well, there were things that they could have done. I think.
So what you're telling me is you lowered your expectations.
No. That's not it. That's the amazing thing about this was that even with the expectations, right?
We still love it.
Even with the stuff that they didn't do right, the movie was still awesome. It's so good.
See, this one makes it hard that since you haven't watched it, because there's two big moments in the movie that you want to share, but you can't because you haven't watched it. Okay, out of curiosity.
Yeah, like if we told you that Uncle Ben came back from the dead as a zombie and Peter has to kill him at the end of the movie, like that's just a lot. You wouldn't be able to really understand that. So we aren't going to tell you that, even though that's what happens at the end of the movie.
Have you seen the new Hawkeye episode?
Yeah.
So when they just
which
make
one?
sure we're on the same. The new one when everybody was speculating who the big boss was, and then Hawkeye was.
Well,
Wilson
speculating.
Fisk.
Yeah, I'm up to episode 5. I'm watching episode 6 tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying.
So you're telling me that Spider-Man No Way Home delivers. They clean up the clusterfuck they had in Far From Home.
Actually, that's what I want to say. This entire movie is a nice slow burn of Sony walking through their past and be like, let's fix that, 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 and at the very end, let's tweak this because Hawkeye is happening, and then they're like, let's fix that, Doctor Strange. Like, literally, the post-credit scene was a Doctor Strange commercial.
Okay, which, by the way, Marvel and Sony, that was unacceptable. You make me sit in the theater through all those credits, and you literally give me a goddamn trailer.
Yeah.
Not a scene.
You know what?
Not a clip, but a cut together mismatch of
director's
bullshit.
Sloppy style. And you know what?
Awful.
You know what, look at me, Daddy Marvel. I love it.
No.
Love it. Give me more.
Bad. No.
Give me 2 credits.
Bad
I'll watch
Marvel.
them both.
Bad Marvel. No, you do not go in the house.
Okay, I'm keeping these off. I got them too.
Do you understand me?
So, I'm trying to think what I can say.
Give me a real post-credit scene. Most of the theater left, and I was left there sitting there watching a fucking Doctor Strange commercial.
Can we say that? What's the deal with people walking out of Marvel movies at this point on the credits?
Because they don't believe them anymore.
No. What it is that they're going to go home and watch it on YouTube. So why do I have to sit in the theater and wait for it? You can literally.
That's not true.
And a lot of times,
I'm not saying, but I'm saying like that's most of those people, or they don't care.
Let's just get the word out. A lot of times, what's seen on YouTube is it's not even the full thing. It's cut by some cheapy guy with a cell phone and half his hand on his dick. What? Yeah, that's just me.
No, I mean I usually have my hand on my dick too.
So, but all right. So you think it was A or A?
I think it's A plus, man. A plus.
Really?
Yes. Trust me.
Really
trust me.
good.
I hate Sony.
Can I tell you honestly? Mm-hmm. I'm not a big Tom Holland fan.
I get that.
I don't think his Spider-Man is like the Spider-Man that actually catches up.
I mean, he's baby Spider-Man.
I will say this: Tom Holland has his moment to mature in this one. He goes through some more struggles, but his his entourage that you see in the other movies, they become more like full-fledged like sidekicks, and they're like really good. Like Beefcake, the big fat kid, I loved him. I wanted to see more of him. I forget, dude. All I know is I love him, and he needs. I don't think he needs a spinoff, but he needs to be in some other spinoff. He needs to just show up and be as a consistent character in that.
Well, but you know that Ned in one of the multiverses, one of the universes, he becomes the Hobgoblin.
The Hobgoblin, yeah.
I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I only
right,
know that because I watched a bunch of YouTube stuff.
Hence that statement that that was made about best friends.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
So my point is this: it's like, look, I like Tom Holland, like his Spider-Man is too. I never liked or enjoyed the fact that they did like a year one Peter Parker in Marvel, the MCU.
Yeah.
I just thought that was,
I'm the same with Batman like that. I don't like year one Batman.
Yeah, so I was like, but I think he's a good actor, blah, blah, blah. I have not enjoyed, I enjoyed The Amazing Spider-Man. Like, I don't think I've liked any of it.
It's funny you say that, because Amazing Spider-Man, I hate so f***ing much. I legitimately hate that movie. I couldn't watch the second one. I got 30 minutes into it. I've never to this day.
I agree.
I have never to this day. Once they start showing blue motherfucker, I was like, this is not Electro. This is not for me. You started this shit with Domino.
Yep.
And now you're doing Electro. I'm done.
No,
and
it was just... I understand that. I did not enjoy the second one at all. The first one I really liked, and I really like Andrew Garfield.
I think Andrew Garfield was like the more modern like Peter Parker. I think Tobey Maguire up until like the Spider-Man 2, actually like halfway into 2.
The first one?
Yeah, I was like
up until the movie after the first one he did.
Yeah,
I
was just
the
like
point. Each Spider-Man's a different age group.
That's where they kind of botched it with like the timeline of Spider-Man. Like Holland is a good year one to like finishing high school Spider-Man.
So what you're saying is that they should have started with that, and you're frustrated because you're seeing that now?
I think we have to think about
if you match them up with like Endgame, yeah. So you're looking at more.
Yeah, so I think trust me, seeing a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man aged in Endgame would have been amazing with all his skill sets and his experience. But yeah, for the whole cinematic universe, it's kind of like a second shading of the Ultimate Universe. So instead of having Miles Morales at that age being introduced to Captain America at his age, they're just like, okay, just do Peter Parker because we're not going to explain who the Miles Morales is to people right now. And now you have a young Peter Parker pretty much echoing aspects of Miles Morales' development.
And I with that. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I can let it slide. But in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I don't really want to with this like that. Like,
but I can guarantee if you watch it this week, next week we have a lot more to talk about because you're going to want to talk about it.
But what I think is funny about that is that in a lot of ways, right? What did Marvel end up doing but whitewashing the Miles Morales storyline?
That's
Which I can understand your frustration with that, Andre. Like,
but
so I get exactly what you're saying there.
Aunt May out of it, so.
Well, that's true, and I will. I mean,
she's on a different world, so I was like, "Yo."
You mean Marissa Aunt May?
Yeah, she was. You guys aren't old enough for a different world, are you?
No, but I am old enough for my cousin Vinny. He won an Oscar.
Your cousin Vinny.
You ever seen A Different World?
I don't remember.
It's one of the greatest shows on TV.
It sounds familiar. I'm sure I watched it at some point. God, I don't know.
God,
all right,
I'm sure you'll never watch it. I'm sure you'll never watch it. And you're just saying
everybody
that to make the old man
pause the podcast so that Chris can go on IMDb.
Jeez, man, that's like some of the.
Dude, you got to remember, you're 8 years older than me. All right.
Yeah.
That's like exactly one generation. Oh, it's really like half a generation. It should be a generation, but...
Whitley? Come on, man.
Whiteley?
Yeah. Whitley. Come on.
Whiteley.
Stop. Whitley. Yeah.
Whiteley.
And Kim?
Oh, on a side note, are we going to be talking about that YouTube video you had me watch? Because
Which YouTube
yes.
video?
Yes, sir.
yes, I got some wonderful. I love
Problem
that.
with all right, real quickly, I want to say I watched season 2 of The Witcher.
I haven't watched it.
It's actually pretty dope.
Even after all the staff shortages.
Oh, yeah. I've seen A Different World. Did you like over here like, oh, you didn't see A Different World? Like, I told you I grew up watching Martin.
I don't know if you watched A Different World. You didn't know who Whitley was. Anyway.
All right, look, I didn't watch it like that, okay?
He's doubting your credentials, bro.
Well, that's nothing new.
So, season 2 of The Witcher was kind of dope.
I haven't watched season 1, but that's one of those shows I've been thinking about getting into.
You kind of got to get on that.
It's tasteful.
I don't think it's going to make it till like season 4, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's good. I don't like long commitments.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have been able to make more if it wasn't for how bad CD Projekt Red up their newest game?
Actually, no. I think they can ride out the whole world because they've got the other prequel coming with some other joint.
Whatever happened to that Game of Thrones prequel? That was allegedly.
Oh, that's coming out like this spring.
They're still working on it, but
yeah. So I think Witcher
that?
2, it's a good watch. You got to like be caught up on it. Henry Cavill, I'm starting to think dude's not a good actor. Like,
and he's a
legit.
creep to boot.
I don't care about that shit. But
you don't care about him wanting to eat people?
Yeah.
That's your boy. What's his name? Army
Hammer.
Army Hammer. Yeah.
Oh, that is a different dude, isn't it?
Yeah. You made all your white people look the same.
I mean, shit. We all look the same to me. I'm watching Superman. I'm like, damn, I look good.
So anyway, Witcher season 2. That's an Andre thumbs up. You got to watch season 1, obviously.
So wait, let's go back to Spider-Man real quick. I want to hear, Andre, what are your concerns for the movie?
I think they're going to have gaps because I do believe they're setting up Doctor Strange more than they're actually trying to like flesh out the story with Spider-Man.
I can understand that. Yeah.
So that's like my
commercials. Stop it. The commercials made it look that way for sure.
Yeah, that's my base. So that's why I'm thinking like, all right, maybe they can like flesh out the story. I don't see how they do the multiverse like swap and bringing these other villains in.
They did it very well. I'll say that.
Okay, because I'm concerned it's not going to be clean because like Octavius died. Like I remember how Dr. Octopus died. I remember how the Vulture died or the Goblin died. Yes. And it's like you can't.
So I will say, right, like there were parts of that they didn't necessarily. I don't think that they didn't answer it as explicitly as they could have, but I understand why. Like if you did, it would have been like, well, exposition. So I get
did
why
that
they
for
didn't.
some things.
For some things, but I will say that going back and watching a couple of the YouTube videos afterwards that were on it about like Easter eggs and explanations of endings and stuff like that, it made a lot more sense. And I think it's one of those like watching it a second and third time through, you start to put those other pieces together and kind of. I think personally, Joe seems to agree with me. For what they were trying to achieve, they did a really, really clean job of it.
Yes, so surprisingly well for Sony, which makes me think that Sony didn't have much control of this. I feel this was a Marvel all the way through, and then Marvel's like, okay, we'll do the work, but you get the main title.
Yeah, you can put your name on it, but at the end of the day, we're not letting you completely botch our. I mean, because I don't think this is a spoiler, right? Like Doctor Strange is a heavy character in this movie, right? And so
I mean, that was my concern. In the trailer.
Yeah, but like it's one of those things where I think Marvel ultimately said, we're not letting you mess up what we have going forward, so we're going to hold your hand to make sure that this movie is good while also providing us with the foundation to be able to go forward. And I was worried too that it was going to be
the Venom thing was scrubbed. I think that's why
potty
they scrubbed
break.
it.
We got to do a pause and potty break.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Marvel's going to clean this up for Sony, and I want to believe that Spider-Man's a good movie. So, like, I don't rock with like a movie if it's like a C, right? I'll watch a B- flick. I don't care.
I mean, I think even in your sometimes overly critical ways, you will enjoy this movie.
Don't hurt. Don't knock him on that. He's been hurt. Okay.
No,
Carnage
I'm
did
saying,
a bad
like,
thing to him.
No, I get it. Like, I really do. And I mean, like, I think, like, Joe and I think both kind of addressed that. Like we went into this expecting less than what we hoped.
I'll tell you exactly what I expected. I expected Sony to show a good product, like they always have, and then it up with their advertisements and their self grandiose gestures.
And they
like
almost
Sony
did.
Sony has been all about, we're not the Marvel universe, but so we're going to do something different. And I'm like,
right.
I'm like, but by doing something different, it's not good. Like as we see with Carnage, like that whole, if they just took his whole love bullshit was Carnage, and just take her out of this movie because we don't need her, and just have it focused on Venom and Carnage, and tone down Venom's like new to America persona where he's always like, God damn! Ah! I'm like, just stop. Just stop.
So much. And that was one of the things where it's like, in some of the videos that I watched this past week, or this past weekend, people talking about the Venom character and him being like such a screw up, and like this being a specific one of the variants of Venom from the multiverse. And I'm starting to get the feeling that like that is just going to be the carte blanche excuse that we give for everything that doesn't quite
for every
line
bad
up with
decision
what we
Sony
like.
makes. Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Or not even just Sony, but like everybody in general. Like, oh, if we don't like it, it's like, oh, well, that was just this one multiverse character that you didn't know was from the multiverse. It's kind of like it's Spider-Man Far From Home, where it's like you have the Skrulls that are pretending to be, Nick Fury what's her face, and then it's like they don't, nobody knows. Like, so it's just like I don't know.
And that's what I don't want. I don't want to sign up for this.
They made reference to the Skrulls in this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna say like my first estimate is a B-.
No, you got. I mean, you got to see it. I hope you get a chance to see it this week, because if we can talk about it next week, that'd be.
I'll say this. With all the information out on it now and Sony's history, it's completely understandable that you would give it a low score like that.
Yes.
Because Sony is a piece of shit. And when you make Venom, when you make Eddie Brock compliment a Sony television just out of character, that was a really expensive TV. I'm like, bitch, that's a 32-inch. Ain't worth shit. If you had a 65-inch, then that would make some sense. But no, Sony couldn't even get their own good TV on there with their lack of supply, bull-ass mother. I hate Sony. I hate Sony.
So on my way home from the movie, right, I made a list of pros and cons, because I was trying to for this specific reason. Like, I wanted to be able to talk about this and remember the things that I liked and that I didn't. And
guys, hold on. Sorry, hold on.
No, it's okay.
I got to show you this. Can you see her?
No, we can barely see because your video quality is pretty.
It just went downhill. What is that?
Oh, is that your child sticking their head through the door?
Oh my God.
She was just doing that to give me a thumbs up, saying I'm doing good. She heard me yell about Sony, and she's smiling at me through the cat door.
Gotta love it.
That's what's
I haven't seen my kid at all, so I'm assuming she's fine watching her videos. But no, like I mean, I had equal numbers of pros and cons. But one of the cons was that shitty Matt Damon Crypto.com commercial that I keep having to watch at the beginning of every movie now. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? You guys have seen this Matt Damon commercial?
Oh, yeah. I've seen it, but not... Is
it Fortune Favors the Bold?
Yeah.
Or the Brave or something like that? Yeah.
I just see the...
All right, can you... Whatever the you're opening, what the are you opening?
Yeah, you gotta chill it with that.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
What is that, yo? It's like
it's his medication.
Having that said, they gave me like horse pill kind of shit. I went to a lower brand that was cheaper, and it's like horse pill size now.
Dude, that's how it was when I went to Costa Rica, and I had to get like the anti-malaria pills. Those things were massive. And it was great.
Wait, why are you in Costa Rica?
Okay,
Let's go
to that video that I shared with you guys, because I don't, like, you guys are
all
on
right,
some bullshit.
fine. I didn't watch this.
I sent you guys a video that, I don't know who this creator is. It's titled The Problem with DC Heroes.
Yeah, that's so damn good. It's a good video.
And it's Cosmo Astronaut Variety. So we need to shout those guys out.
You
I started.
Just did.
Oh my god!
Right. So you've I don't know what's happened the last couple of weeks. I've been dropping more F-bombs than like.
Yeah.
I
don't know if anybody noticed, but I added a lovely little profanity counter last week. And that's not even all the profanity. It's only the things that we felt, and specifically I, felt warranted being removed, which are basically F words and any kind of like, I mean, in that episode, there were a lot of very racist things that Andre said, not me.
So I miss that so bad.
Or they can be construed as racist, but are they very like sensitive to my culture? But
well, and they're words that if we let them play without bleeping them out, are very likely to get us in trouble with the tube of youths.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember?
So what's wrong with
movie in the 90s?
Yo.
Oh, the cartoon?
Is that something? Is that part of your heart?
I'm pretty sure that's not something you're allowed to bring up because Andre lost somebody very special that day.
Huh? Optimus?
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever.
So
I'm a hot rod guy anyway. That's what I was fucking
Am I
with.
wrong, Andre?
Yeah, that's true.
I knew
The whole
it.
aspect.
I knew
everybody's
like,
bringing the.
You gotta.
You got the touch.
Put it in.
Yo, you gotta remember, I saw that joint in the theater, yo.
Yeah.
You guys probably saw it on like DVD.
Yeah,
or
I
some
saw it.
shit.
I saw it on VHS.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah. And it was like the crappy
Bootleg
VHS that
VHS.
was recorded off of like cable television, so it had all the commercials and everything. And
Where's the harm?
do you know
Let's
what
talk
else?
about the
I
problem
had
with DC Heroes.
the California Raisins was another one that I had on VHS. That was great.
That's racist.
That's not racist.
Let's talk about what do you guys think about that video?
I didn't watch it. So I thought it was
I
great.
think Superman needs less Lois Lane in his movies.
Yo, you didn't watch this, Chris?
No, I didn't get a chance. I'm sorry.
Joe, that guy was so spot
you
on,
sent
yeah?
it
He was
to
great.
me.
It was funny because I had a list written down of things I wanted to talk about just by knowing the title of that video, and then I watched it, and I was like, "Holy shit! I don't need this list." I was like, "Fuck!" He said it. But yeah, my take to summarize on that. I've always felt DC, even though I have tons of freaking DC comics on the wall, they have great superheroes, but they're so power dynamic. Like they're so very, very high
They're
up
OP,
there.
yeah.
It's a bad case of power creep. So DC has great like galactic event, like storylines. Those are great. That's always where Marvel has kind of screwed the pooch. Guardians of the Galaxy is their one-off. Everything else is kind of like very obscure, like Nova and stuff like that. Quasar. DC, what? What?
He's not wrong. I mean, like
I can't stand Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I didn't say. I didn't say it was the
prime.
prime.
Pulling in
it was
obscure things that you've never really heard of. Like even if you read the comics, you'd have to be like a pretty hardcore nerd about it. In
Guardians
order
of the Galaxy was.
Dude, I'm sitting here like
Marvel.
watching the problem with DC Heroes video and listening to Joe at the same time, and I understood what he was talking about. Like, what the fuck is your problem?
So DC's problem.
What are you doing? Like,
is that they have
no. Okay, I'm sorry.
DC's problem is they have really good heroes, but they do not utilize them properly, and they put them against. And they put them against villains that are so one note and generic and boring. And when I said about the whole Superman thing, the guy in the video brought up a really good point. Being in love with a character is not your character. It's not your motive to be a character. And then I remembered, wait a minute, what's the Superman that I've always idolized? Because I've always had a hard time regular Superman, but the one I always idolized was this bad boy right here, Red Sun Superman. Because his girl died, and that changed the way he felt throughout the world. And you saw the way he treated things completely different. And comparing that to like our Superman to like the Russian Superman at that time, it was like, wow, this is interesting because it's not just different, but it's more developed. It was more a social commentary on the difference between, Reaganomics and, the Cold War. And that's what I want. I want to see more of that with Superman. And I can't stand the DC Superman movies because they're so bland. They're so bland.
Well, I think it's hard, right? Like, I was a huge Superman, as you can kind of see, right? A huge Superman comic fan growing up. Like, Superman was my boy. And but I reached a point in high school where it stopped being interesting, right? Like, he was so infallible and so unstoppable that ultimately, no matter what I read, it was kind of like, well, I know he's going to come out on top. And I know they had the whole thing where it was like, Superman dies and all of that. But that wasn't what it was about. To me, like, the other heroes, like the X-Men and stuff like that I enjoyed was that they had, human fallibilities that I could relate to. Things that they struggled with on a day in and day out basis that were not just related to whether or not I'm going to save the world. It was about like them living in their relationships, and those were the connections that I ended up making. I think as I grew up, right, you get more life experience. Those are the things that start to make a bigger connection to you. But I mean, like, Superman has, again, like, always played a pretty big, role, like, in my comic history.
So, I'll elaborate on what you said about the whole connecting. You think Spiderman? What you think his villains, right? Mm-hmm. You think Tombstone, which is one of his villains, he's also the villain of Punisher and Daredevil, and then you keep going down that rabbit hole. All these heroes, vigilantes, all connect. You're developing a nice like kind of like a framework to build stories on. Yeah,
a web, if you will.
But when you go to DC,
good job, Chris.
None of the DC villains have anything to do with other DC heroes.
That's not true. That's actually not true. If you look at the Flash and Green Lantern, they have some overlap. You look at
the movies.
In some of the comics.
No, I'm not talking about the comics. I'm talking about the movies. The movies that they've made. Okay. Because they pretty much said the Green Lantern thing pretty never happened.
Well, yeah,
in the canon, yeah. Even though I think they could have did something with that. I think right now look at how the new Spider-Man movie is doing, taking aspects of things that people didn't like and fixing them. That's what they should do with Green Lantern.
But I don't. So my thing is this, and I agree with, with both what you guys say. Like, I think that DC has some good heroes. They do. They're like
executed.
They're OP like you wouldn't believe. Like, it's like Superman. Who fights Superman, right? Like, nobody can beat this dude.
Well, the Klan. No, so like I was so excited when I went through my comics because when you were showing the one the other week. That was talking about that, and so like I saw this. I showed this to Andre last week because I had it pulled out as I was going through and updating my wall behind me for last week's episode because I thought you were going to join us, and so. But like this was the stuff that I love to read. Like we were talking about that last week. Like Superman
has wonderful stories
and like stuff like that. Like those are the stories that I absolutely loved as a kid growing up.
Do you think that the big reason DC is screwing up the pooch right now or consistently is they're afraid to do something risky with the character? They're just trying to keep it to the ones you already know. Like if you Google search Superman, you find Death of Superman, and they're like, okay, let's go straight to that.
So the kid that does those videos, what's his name?
The kid that what?
That does those videos. He made a very good point.
Oh, the Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
Yeah.
Boy's got gun nipples. I want gun nipples.
Dude's got 1.2
There was 8 million. Just
8 million views on the video. Yeah.
Damn.
Well, you're saying we need to shout him out, man. We don't need to shout him out.
I'm not looking for clout, but it's like I really connected with the content. I thought it was dope. I think he was spot on about that. It's like the people at Warner Brothers, they don't know the source material, right? So when I look at Batman versus Superman, I'm like, yo, that's Batman. Like that's Dark Knight Returns. Like that was the first thing I thought about. I wasn't like,
No, I
what
agree with
Batman
you.
is this?
Well, and that's been DC's problem for a while now, right? I mean, I think
They don't represent the but it's also like Marvel's edge. It's like, and I keep saying, like they have content that goes back, and they can pull from it, and they can.
But DC,
modify.
I feel like has outsourced, right, their content when it comes to movie stuff for the most part historically, where it's like, you know,
Well, they get shitty directors.
Well, sure, but
Yes.
I mean,
Very
you
much
had,
so.
I don't know. Where do you guys stand on like the Tim Burton Batman films? Were those decent? Were they?
I
awful?
thought it was.
Those
For
are
me,
its own
it was
thing.
dope because it wasn't the campy shit. It was like,
Okay.
that's Batman, right? And that was all he had going for. Like, I didn't like the story at all, but I'm like, it's not this corny
It wasn't the
1968
'60s,
Batman.
yeah, the Adam West stuff.
Yeah. I was like, that's dope. The second one, I didn't really like it. I didn't like any of the rest of them, but I actually own all of them because I like to see Batman on the screen. Right?
Which I mean, I totally understand that. I guess what I'm trying to understand is where you feel like the quality of director or writer or
Chris Nolan was the only thing that the DC universe has actually said, hey, we care about the story, and let's kind of make it something of our own.
And
Chris,
but even with that one, don't you feel like by the time we got to the third one, they kind of screwed the pooch on that? I just didn't feel like the third one. I mean, like, and maybe part of it, and it's not their fault.
they
right?
wrapped it.
Was what?
Was they try to make it a trilogy? It was
Okay,
like
but
Batman's
what I
not
was
a
going to
fucking
say
trilogy.
is that Heath Ledger just killed it as the Joker, and because of everything that surrounded that before the movie came out, that it was almost impossible for you to be able to capture that type of emotional connection to the film. Because for me personally,
Which is why we got a lot of lashback when the next guy decided to do his version of the Joker, and it was straight garbage.
which I haven't seen, by the way.
Good for you.
All right, well, there's two questions. So you haven't seen the Joker?
I haven't seen
with
the Joker.
Joaquin?
No.
It's actually not a good movie.
Okay. No, I mean that was, and look, I'm not a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan. Like, I mean, like,
I think he's dope, but the Oscars and whatever the he won for that was not a good movie.
I've been curious to the point, like, because it's on sources where I can watch it without giving anybody any credit for it. You know, like I'm more tempted to watch it there. But that was a big thing. Like, even when I was like on the airplane, like coming home, I'm like, man, I ain't watching that shit on here. You're gonna get some money for that.
Joker is a good deep dive into the psychology of a criminal, but it's not. It's not.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. There's parts of that have to deal with really good depression and anxiety, and I think that's key to note. But at its core, it's not a Joker movie. It's just like it's Taxi with a Joker spin.
Yeah, it's a broad ass movie. It was like so broad that you had to connect the dots as a viewer to say this movie's about the Joker.
I assume you meant
Between
Taxi
that
Driver.
and yeah.
Have I seen Taxi?
Well, no. I think Joe said Taxi, and I immediately thought of the show Taxi.
Like the video game Taxi Driver?
No.
Or Driver?
What is the... What is the movie with Robert De Niro?
The movie's called Taxi.
Is that Taxi?
It's Taxi. Yeah.
What was the show?
It was with Tony Danza?
No. Well, maybe, but with Danny DeVito and Andy Kaufman.
I feel like Danny DeVito's getting shorter the older
That
he
was
gets.
also Taxi, wasn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Why did I think that the De Niro flick was called Taxi Driver? Oh, stop it. You know what?
Anyway.
Oh, shit, it is called The Taxi Driver.
Oh! Never, ever, ever gonna live that down.
I'm just going to ignore it.
Clipped,
But
published. God, I'm good. So yeah, I hear Taxi, and all I can think of is Andy Kaufman. And thank you very much. Like,
so I think Joker was a shitty movie. Like my wife and my daughter love that shit. I was like, yeah, that shit was kind of
I think Joker is a good movie, but overhyped.
And maybe that's kind of what I really feel. I just didn't. I wasn't gonna be like,
My whole point was that I
dope.
agree that Christopher Nolan was the best director that they've had since Tim Burton to do any of the Batman stuff, right? And that...
I never saw Mr. Freeze.
And even Tim Burton gets a pass because it wasn't the campy shit.
Well, but it was like the Tim Burton campy though. Like that was the whole thing. It was so Tim Burton. It was like Nightmare Before Batman.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that.
Nightmare Before Batman.
Okay, that's fair. That is super fair.
Just see Edward Scissorhands show up, help him fight Mr. Freeze.
I just came up with that off the top of my head because that's the kind of genius that just spews from.
All right, Kanye.
That's just yay. No,
that mother.
So let me say this real quick. There's actually been I haven't heard anyone online mention this. So remember in the first Venom where somebody made a statement to Brock about his blunder on the East Coast?
Yeah.
So given everything in the multiverse, when I heard that, I'm like, okay, we're watching a Venom movie with no Spider-Man in it. So they have to give a new origin for why Venom it does his web slinging bullshit, but he's not actually Venom, which it probably explains why you don't see him web sling much and just jump and crawl on everything. Yep. Yeah, yeah. So it's less Venom than I think about it. But after that statement, for years I've just been thinking about it. I'm like, so that means he did also get ousted for faking photographs for the Daily Bugle, but they never say it. But I'm like, that if just them saying that one line hints at that, and then the second movie comes along, and they make references to. I think they made references to. I think it was wasn't it a Star Labs reference in there in the Carnage movie?
Might have been, yeah.
I know Star Labs is DC.
That's right. I'm getting my brain screwed up with all this talking.
No, yeah, because it was
an Asylum. That's what it was.
Yeah,
the Asylum they had Carnage at,
and the one that they had Siren or whatever her name is.
Yes, but that's supposed to be where all of Spider-Man's villains get sent to.
So it's basically the Arkham Asylum of Marvel.
Yeah. So when I saw them bringing that into attention, I was like, and with the whole Siren thing, they kind of mentioned the mutants and all that stuff. I was like, this is not what I'm trying to talk about, but they're doing a lot of these let me test the water to see if you want us to do more of that, because we don't want another New Mutants.
Situation. But I mean, we know that they are going to bring X-Men into the MCU at some point in the next.
They have to.
There's a lot of demand for it. Yeah. So anyway, Eddie Brock. They hinted that, a similar fashion, he got ousted out of Daily Bugle. That's why he went to the West Coast and became super freaking internet famous. And then he got ousted again because of the rocket ship, blunder and, yada, yada. This last movie, Spider-Man, you see, because after Carnage, you're like, oh, Venom's going to be in that one. What's he going to do? And you're like, you already seeing the people you saw on the trailers, you're like, that's a full roster already. How are you going to explain how Venom is here, and how's Spider-Man going to react to that? Because I was very confused when just seeing Venom tongue fuck the TV, just looking at Spider-Man.
Right.
I was like, why is Venom instantly so attracted to this powerful guy?
You know why though, right? So this is one of the things that. Well, this is one of the things that I was also confused about, right? But after watching a couple of videos on YouTube seeing No Way Home, it started to make a little bit more sense. And basically the explanation that's been given, and this is not official Marvel explanation, but just general geek explanation, that the symbiote is basically a neural network, right? Where they're all connected to each other. And so that means even across the multiverse. So
that answered the other question I had about some of the other things.
Other Venoms basically have run into Spider-Man at points and have also been made aware that he is Peter Parker.
So that would go along with the comic books, with the whole Venomverse.
Because immediately before they do the weird teleportation to a new place at the end of the Venom flick, is when he connects to the symbiote network. Basically, he's like, "Oh, if I connected Brock, Eddie Brock, if I connected, it'd blow your mind." And then he connects, and it's like, "Whoa!" And then they shift places all of a sudden. And that's the explanation that's essentially being given, is that because in that moment he's made aware as to who Peter Parker is and the fact that he's Spider-Man, even though there is apparently, at least now that we've been made aware of, a Spider-Man in the Venom universe. That's what essentially draws him in.
So that's the thing I was interested about, because I was, the whole spell is, make everyone who knows who Peter Parker is, Spider-Man, forget, right?
Yep.
That was the whole trailer, thing. So first Venom, you're like, is there a Peter Parker in that world? Right. Carnage happens. You still don't really get that answer. This movie happens. And then you're like, wait, that means Eddie Brock wouldn't be sent back because he doesn't know Peter Parker.
Right.
And then he gets sent back, and you're like, oh, shit. That means there is a Peter Parker in his world in some facet. So maybe that
not
Peter
necessarily. Right? So it's one of those things where I think either there is a Peter Parker that hasn't been identified and hasn't become Spider-Man yet, or it's that by connecting to the symbiote network that Venom and Eddie are therefore made aware of who...
Wouldn't that mean that Venom primarily would have been teleported back, not Eddie Brock?
Yeah, but I think because they're both connected, right? Like they're linked now. That's going to be their explanation for it. But
what about what happened on the table after he disappeared?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I mean, that's what I'm thinking is the Eddie Brock thing, not a Venom thing.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
I
mean, maybe they want to explain off.
I do understand that as a Venture Brothers fan, right? Like,
I think Marvel's getting lazy and they're doing some fucking, what is it, Rick and Morty?
Well, and that's exactly what I was going to say, is that I think as a Venture Brothers fan, I can fully appreciate where you leave questions unanswered to come back and answer later. You don't even have them answered yet, but you leave open-ended questions and things so that when you come back and answer them later, you can be like, oh, this is what we meant all along, right? And I think to some degree that's what you're getting in the Marvel universe right now, where they're leaving things open and then they're coming back and kind of conveniently saying, oh, this is how we want to close this up. And so it's not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to be able to, especially because you're not, like, the Marvel comic universe is not synonymous with the Marvel cinematic universe, right? Everything that's happened in the comics is not the same stuff that's happening here in the cinematic universe. And so I think like any of the stuff that we've seen before in the comics or in other TV shows and whatnot, I mean, even the Marvel stuff on Netflix that they've only now kind of just started to, in certain ways, right, like integrate into the actual MCU. There was that whole, is any of this canon, or is like Daredevil and Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, is that all just like one-off stuff that kind of exists outside of the actual MCU? And
or can we all collectively say Iron Fist did not happen?
Well, I think we've all agreed at this point that is true, but the rest of them we like enough that we do want to include them.
So, Andre, I took your advice and I finished season 2 of Luke Cage, and when Iron Fist and Luke Cage fought together, I was like, why didn't they just do that from the beginning? Iron Fist needs somebody with more personality than him to do a fight scene, because he sucks as a character. He's no personality. He's a rich white guy who's surprised all the time.
Blonde hair and blue eyes.
They gave him the shaft in that whole show, man. Like they really, like, I think that there was a couple of bright spots in that entire series that they missed the mark on, and it's like it's not the actor's fault. It was the writer's fault. It was Netflix's fault.
I never liked when he, as a white character, tried to explain Asian like mythology and practices. It was you were with the story, and then he started doing that, and you're like, whoa, you don't feel natural right now. Why are you?
But didn't they do the same thing with Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange?
Yeah, that was the first like major whitewashing of a character where they missed the mark there. But it's like
that to me was such a name grab, right? That was, we got Tilda Swinton to play this role.
It didn't matter.
No, I'm with you, but I'm saying that like for the people, the people who weren't going to necessarily go watch those movies unless there were name brand actors in it that drew them in. And Doctor Strange, I understand, because Cumberbatch wasn't like he was Sherlock, but he wasn't like the American
No,
star
but he's
yet.
Doctor. He
is Doctor Strange. Like,
No,
you can
he's
take-
incarnate.
go watch
You
No
can
Way
take his-
Home, and your opinion of Doctor Strange is not getting any lower at this point. And
No,
the way
he's
that
great.
Cumberbatch,
Yeah, you take his face and you put it on like next to a print. You're like, that's
but that's
Doctor.
the other
you
thing,
take-
right? And we've talked about this before that with Marvel, and this is where I think Marvel and DC again have really like differentiated. Was that Marvel has repeatedly found characters that not only physically can embody the character, but that emotionally connect with the audience and who that character is, and are able to translate that. And that's where I think DC has missed. Like,
Marvel is
Ben
something
Affleck,
except
right?
for-
Like, you love Ben
except for
Affleck.
Tom Holland.
Oh, and that's your take. I get that, but like with Ben Affleck and Batman, right? Like, I don't connect with Ben Affleck as Batman. You love him, and I get that. Like, that's
He's a good Bruce Wayne, but not a good Batman.
But like for me, I like
Bruce Wayne is supposed to be egotistic. He's supposed to come out egotistic, like I'm rich, pompous.
Yeah, but
But-
the Bruce Wayne he's playing is not the Bruce Wayne from
exactly.
earlier comics.
It's
He's
not
playing-
30-year-old
he's playing
Bruce
an older,
Wayne. It's
He's
50-year-old
playing
Bruce
an
Wayne.
an aged Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give a shit.
No,
So,
and I get
think-
that, but I just think it's that was one of those where to me that felt like we want a name brand to play Batman, and I'm not saying that that's what they did, but that's how it came
that's
across
what it felt like. It
to
definitely
me. It
felt
was,
like that.
but I thought the same thing, right? When they got Heath Ledger to play the Joker, I went, "How the hell is that dude going to play the Joker?"
I don't even think they were ready for that dude. He knocked it out of the park.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that there are times where you can look at that casting and go, "I don't get it," and the actor just kills it. He
Like
just
Chris Hemsworth
absolutely
with
crushes
Thor.
it. What was that?
But Chris Hemsworth is Thor.
But I didn't. But people didn't make that connection at first because Thor had such a Thor. Even the way Thor comics were written before those movies came out, very old Englishy, like text, and it was kind of like so. For some people, it was very dry. I loved it.
Well, and there's a
then
lot
that
of people
happened-
who do not like Chris Hemsworth's Thor.
Oh,
because
I believe it.
They don't feel like it's an accurate portrayal. They feel like he's been, this dumbed down, like jockey version of Thor, as opposed to what they feel like is
I
usually
think
represented.
what's his
in the
name?
comics.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Taika Waititi.
I fucking don't like him. Well, I don't like his work.
It's okay to be wrong sometimes.
You're telling me you don't like Ratman?
No, he doesn't like Ratman. To be fair, it did take me 4 watches to get through Free Guy. I kept falling asleep, but I was really tired.
I'm not a big fan of Taika. What is his name?
Waititi. Taika Waititi.
I'm not going to memorize that shit because he's not going to matter in like 10 years.
I don't know, man.
don't-
I think he might. I think Taika might stick around.
He's
but-
a comedic actor. That's dope. I don't think that like
I love
I think
Ragnarok. I know that it's not your cup of tea, but Ragnarok was. And what's
Fuck
funny
that.
about Ragnarok to me is that I left that movie thinking they just blew up the entire planet, like
Asgard.
of Asgard, and that movie didn't really seem to have the type of like down like heaviness of that's associated with that. And walking out of the movie theater, I was like, I don't know how right that is. It's one of my favorite movies to rewatch. I love that movie. I just do. I don't know.
I like Thor Ragnarok because one, it's the closest thing I'm ever going to get to a live action World War Hulk and or Planet
they
Hulk.
screwed it up. They screwed it up.
Let's
They
do help.
took-
Or let's do get help.
What's that? What?
They screwed
Let's
it.
do get help when they're in the elevator and he throws.
Oh yeah,
Loki.
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
I didn't.
but-
I didn't like that. I was just
So
bored. I
it's
was
the
like,
closest we're gonna get to a Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, storyline. I did like how they kind of they tweaked the Hela, origin.
they ruined Hela. What are you talking about?
Okay, so if you're not a comic book reader, Hela is nothing to nobody. A lot of people do not know who Hela is. They do not know the Hela Loki connection.
Who the hell is that?
Right. But just to show her at her like her power set is awesome. Obviously she's nowhere near as powerful as she is in the comics, but for a Marvel villain up to that point, she was the most like powerful. Fucking destroys all the Valkyries in one hit.
My point being is like, and I get what Marvel has to do. They have to balance like the traditional or like people that have read comics for years upon years and the new audience, and they've done a great job of that. So I commend them for that. And I have to suffer through a Taika what's his name?
Waititi. YTT. It's literally 3 letters.
So I would say Marvel is great, like I said, at adapting the source material to a new audience.
I don't like his name. Like it's just like I don't want to bastardize his name. Taika Waititi.
Waititi. He's from New Zealand.
Waititi.
He's a Kiwi.
I respect the New Zealand.
It doesn't seem like you do because you keep making it like
it doesn't. It doesn't.
For you to
your eyes glass over and you start like looking around. Like, ugh.
I'm the white dude here that's pronouncing this name that is not white just fine.
I don't want to give him that much press. I wasn't impressed. I think he did a terrible job with that movie. And I get the people who love the movie because of the humor, and they thought it was a softer side of the heroic adventure. I thought it was awful to mix Planet Hulk. I just thought it was awful.
But do you think that was all Taika Waititi's decision? Do you think that he went to Marvel and said, what I really want to do is make a Thor movie where I steal as much from Planet Hulk as I can so that the people who are really big fans of Planet Hulk will be pissed off? Like, I think this was more Kevin Feige and Marvel saying, this is where we need you to get to. And Taika looking at it and going, all right, this is the movie I can make out of that. Like,
and I'll make it pretty funny.
What they did to Meek hurts me still. Like, Meek was such a... Meek... The 6-armed, like
the razor, the sword-armed like cockroach or whatever,
yeah. What they did to him hurts me. They just made him like a dumb animal. And then when they went to the courtyard.
I didn't. I mean, again, like I'm not a huge comic book guy. Like in terms of Thor, and
they
Marvel.
did a lot of, like you said, they did a lot of Easter eggs to hint that this is they're paying homage, as they say, to the Planet Hulk situation, but when I see it, it actually highlighted more the fact that that's an opportunity we missed right there. Because I would love to have seen the God, what is the power called, Andre? What is their power called? The old power or something? The people who can turn into stone on that planet.
I'm off the top of my head. I
think they referred to the old power or something like that.
I'm fuming in my own head. Like I'm like fucking upset that Chris is like he's putting this movie on a banner.
I'm not putting it on a banner. I'm saying it's a good movie. I'm not like it should have won the Oscar for greatest movie ever made. No. I'm just like, I just don't understand the hate. Like that's what I don't get.
It's not hate. It's like
missed opportunity. It's dissatisfaction with a missed opportunity.
I guess, and maybe it's because I'm not that connected to the source material in that way. And
I'm the crazy guy who both loves the source material and what they're doing with the new movies.
And that's what I
respect that. That's where I.
That's what I'm trying to get. Is like I feel like there's room for both, And I.
Yeah. But there, to an extent, with Thor Ragnarok, I think they tried to combine too many things into one piece of art. Right? Maybe. I just thought it was too much.
I mean,
and I just didn't. Like, so the whole, Planet Hulk thing was, is disjointed. Didn't make sense. Actually, if you take that piece out of the movie, you don't mess up the movie, right? It made no sense for Thor to, be there and to go back to, what's left of Asgard. And it just annoyed the shit out of me. It didn't make any sense to be there. Jeff Goldblum made no sense to be in the movie. That whole thing
that's for star power. That's all that was.
Yeah, it's just it didn't make sense in the story, the way of the story. And I just didn't like it.
What the do you have against Jeff Goldblum? The man is an American icon.
Taika Waititi.
He's not Taika Waititi. He's Jeff Goldblum.
Hero dress.
The man is an American icon. He doesn't make movies. Movies make him.
I don't care. I didn't like the movie.
Well, you've made that abundantly clear.
I want to see the Punisher. I want to see the Punisher and Spiderman run into each other.
Oh, that would be.
Or Punisher and Venom. That would be badass.
That will not be that'll be like a rated X movie because that'll just go way overboard. You can't.
So that's the problem with Carnage. They should have just made it R.
It's. I don't see. I still have hope that Morbius. So what you're saying about Spider-Man No Way Home is true. If it's true, that means Morbius may be the best movie that Sony puts out.
I mean,
I'll wait on that because literally, I don't think there was literally any like Morbius connections in this one.
No,
right?
there weren't.
It doesn't have to be.
No, the only not in this one. The only connection that you have between Morbius and the Spider-Verse is is Michael Keaton, basically the Vulture, right? He's in the trailer for Morbius, and he's like,
yeah.
You know,
what's up, Doc? Yeah.
What's up, Doc? Let's keep in touch.
Let me go back to another thing that really pissed me about. Beta Ray Bill.
What?
Fuck. Beta Ray Bill.
You know, this whole time I've been off to the side trying to ignore that. But no,
okay, you guys,
right.
You guys got to explain this to me. I'm missing.
You don't know who Beta Ray Bill is?
Clarify.
Beta Ray Bill.
It sounds familiar, but
he's like a horse, like alien kind of thing that has Thor's powers. But long story.
He was worthy of million.
Yeah, long story.
Okay.
He and Thor beat the shit out of each other once, and he picked up Thor's hammer. And Thor was like,
okay,
you're worthy.
Yeah.
And then he became like this space Thor that just kept doing shit in space. When they did the whole face of him on the thing, I was like, oh my god, maybe he's actually somewhere. They didn't show him. The closest thing they did to any of those like Thor-ish or spin-off characters
was in Loki.
It's like Frog Thor, yeah. And I'm like, but I wanted Beta Ray Bill. And for that matter, where the hell? Where's Adam Warlock? Where's he doing right now? Is he still in the coffin?
That's
is he still brewing?
No, he's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I'm only going to watch because of that. And Thor, Gore the God.
But maybe that's what Chris is saying, that they put some things off to the side unanswered, waiting for them to come up.
No, they botched it. And Taika
Waititi.
Anyway,
so I
think
look, this is
you're asking where the titties are.
Just to kind of bring this full circle, right? I think Marvel and Disney, to a certain extent now, right?
We're talking about DC at first, and we ended up with Marvel.
Yeah, of course.
DC is not even worth talking about.
They're irrelevant.
The fact that this exists is a slight on their existence.
Anyways, I think it's one of those things. Like I on the one hand, I can really appreciate the challenge, right, that Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel and Disney are facing right now in trying to bring some of these characters and stories to life. Because ultimately, no matter which storylines you choose, no matter how you try to tell it, some people are not going to like the way that you've chosen to do it. And I get that that's just always going to be the case, right? Like, I don't... Just give... Let me give...
I'm going to let you finish. Yeah.
But Taylor Swift had the best album this season. Just...
What the f*** is wrong with you?
You said I'm going to let you finish, Kanye. So I had to bring it back for my white folks, Tay Swift.
Oh shit! You got to Tay out.
Like the point that I'm trying to make here is that, like, I wouldn't necessarily want to be on that team that has to make those decisions, right? At the end of the day, you're going into a situation that you're kind of lose-lose. You're very unlikely to please the majority of existing fans while also being able to engage people who've never watched Marvel before. And so I think to some degree, like, you're trying to hit an impossible target to satisfy both the long-term fans and to appeal to a broader audience so that you're making the money that Disney and Marvel expect you to make at this point. Would it be great if we could make these movies without those expectations, that they could just be made from a purely artistic and cinematic standpoint? Yes, but we all don't live in that world. We live in the world where money is ultimately going to determine, and that's why Marvel does what they do. They have all of these storylines that they can draw from, and yet plot after plot of movie that they produce tends to recycle a lot of the same general plot points.
See, and that's where you're taking a jab on that, and I don't like that. That's
well,
like
because
you
Joe's
have
here to back me
shit.
up for once.
I would say that Marvel is
jab.
great at giving us a buffet and picking out every little flavor on the way across. And if you want to get more of the flavor, go to the TV shows. Having that said, bring me back Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, what the
No, don't bother. That show.
All right, you guys are both you guys are taking jabs. Well, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it was good the first season.
Did you watch?
What are you eating?
I'm sorry.
No, it's just like the loudest thing.
I'm trying not to be. It's GameStop, man. They put everything in this shit. They package it like it's some special item.
He's not eating anything this time. He's just fucking opening up video games.
Stubbs a Zombie, $18 for brand new. I can't. I got the original one right there on the shelf. This is gonna go right underneath
Jesus
it.
Christ. So my point being is like, I get what you're saying, Chris, about like they got a lot of stuff. I get it, but
what?
And to your point, Joe, I get the buffet, but some things don't need to be on the plate, right? Leave Planet Hulk alone, right?
Yeah.
Planet Hulk
he could have got his whole movie, and it would have been amazing. It would have amazing.
But I get the licensing thing. I get the licensing thing with the Hulk, right?
But I'm not even talking about from a licensing standpoint. I'm just saying that if I'm like from a Taika Waititi directorial standpoint,
why keep going back to him?
No, because he's the one picking a freaking fight about it, and
you keep going back to it
because I'm not letting him pick on my friend. My friend Taika and me were first name friends. That's right. I call him TW for short. No, but the point is that like Marvel and Disney dictate what like the extent of these films. They don't. It's not like Waititi came in and said, "You know what I really want to do is I want to make a Planet Hulk film that's really a Thor film," and that Disney went.
So you're telling
cool.
me you're telling me James Gunn gets to add in his like plethora of bullshit in his movies,
Which
and nobody
ones?
like Guardians of the Galaxy with the ego shit. Like that was all him. He added stuff to like they withheld Guardians of the Galaxy 2 until he can make adjustments to the script. So you're telling me Taika
I would say that James Gunn at that point had more pull with Marvel making the second Guardians of the Galaxy after the success of the first one than Taika Waititi did making his first Marvel film. Yes.
Okay.
Well, the whole Taika Waititi thing came upon with the whole Marvel reaching out and trying to get more indie film directors.
Right.
That was just a happy mistake. Yeah, that was great.
Never mind the fact that he worked on Green Lantern previously. Didn't he direct that?
He was I think he was a producer.
Yeah, producer.
Everyone shits on Green Lantern, but I rewatched it a couple days ago, and it doesn't hold up. It does not hold up.
I was just gonna say it's terrible. It's still terrible.
It does not hold up. But they did really well. It wasn't
a bad movie. Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just badly timed, and they did not flesh out the villain well enough. So it confused people quite a bit. But they should just went straight Sinestro. Like, don't fuck around with the other shit. Just go straight Sinestro.
So, since we were talking about this a little bit, the thing that I would love to see done on the silver screen. What are you laughing at? Do you know what I'm getting ready to show you?
No. I think I accidentally took too much of my pills today.
Oh, okay. Well, I love those days. No, so this was one of my favorite series that they did a while back, and I have the full. I think it was only 4 prints that they did, but the Marvel versus DC or DC versus Marvel series,
the Amalgam Universe,
was one of my favorites because you basically see like all of the counterpoints from each universe paired up against each other, and then in the final one,
Lobo and Wolverine. What Lobo would get his ass beat by Wolverine.
He would be, and I'm pretty sure he does more or less.
He did. He does.
But in the final one, what you basically get is a blend of each of them. So you get like part of A and part.
You got like a Superman, a Superman Captain America.
Yeah.
It's called the Amalgam Universe. Both DC and Marvel agreed to make a separate universe where they're a what if scenario where if 2 identical universes collided and yada yada. It was pretty cool. It showed that the Infinity Gauntlet's had no power there.
Yeah. I skipped that one because
that was crazy cool.
I think they also released that during the Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars 2, if I remember correctly.
I think was it Civil War 2. I didn't.
Not Civil War.
No, Secret Wars and Civil War 2. I was completely out of comic books at that point.
Really?
I was out making babies, so I didn't have the time to read the comic books.
I'm trying to see. Looks like 95 was when this one came out.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So that means that Secret Wars 2 came out.
According to the Earthworm Jim copyright date on the back.
Earthworm Jim.
No, but
he's getting a remake.
I like that series was really cool to me because it was different, right? Like you had characters from both universes coming together. They were fighting each other initially because they didn't know what the hell was going on. What's that?
Seeing Superman pick up Thor's hammer was just as good in the comic book world as seeing Captain America pick up Thor's hammer in the cinematic world.
You had like some of those really cool moments, those crossover moments, and so I know we will probably never get to see that, but
I think we will.
No, I'll disagree on you with that.
Oh, you think that we're
DC
gonna get
will
to that?
have to. Eventually, DC will have to.
Once
There'll be
Marvel
so many
buys
people.
them.
No, maybe. But no, I'm saying, well, the popularity of superhero stuff is getting so up there. Like, video game and superhero-related material is getting so mainstream to the point people are going to be like, well, what's the difference between DC and Marvel? Why can't we just do a movie where they're both together? And they're going to make a reason why Superman has the
crossover, the financial gain from the crossover potential is huge.
But the mythos is different on both.
It
ends.
is.
I think people are smart enough to recognize that, and that's the part that I think that people there's. What's the best? It's like comparing Lord of the Rings to Harry Potter, right? I think people even when they don't want to admit it, they recognize they're two different franchises.
I'd watch that crossover.
Right? Really?
No.
Exactly.
I would love to see Sauron beat some ass.
Do you know how upset I was after the first Lord of the Rings film when it ended? And I was like, there's 2 more of these that I have to watch?
Probably as upset as I was with the Hobbit movies.
Probably.
I thought they were all the same thing.
I didn't go see the first one in theater and was like waiting, and then finally like a bunch of friends were like, oh my god, you have to watch it, and I watched it, and I got to the end and they were literally like, let's go for a walk, and they walk off, and I'm like, that's the end of the movie, and they're like, yeah, it's a trilogy, and I'm like, so why the didn't I just wait till they were all done and I could watch them all at once? Like,
so the point I was trying to make, Lego's already starting to do it. The material is becoming so similar.
Yeah.
Like, literally, these names are the opposite of each other. Marvel superheroes, DC supervillains. Like, it's getting to the point where they're so symmetrical that people are going to stop drawing differences from them. It won't be DC versus Marvel anymore. It'll just be like, oh, look at that superhero stuff. I can't wait to see Joker fight Spiderman, some shit like that. And then
I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think
I'm willing to bet my 3rd kid on it.
How many kids do you have?
We have Andre doesn't need any more kids, so I think he's good on that. But we do have $1,000 bet that's going on the other side here. And
can I pony up my son as for $1,000
for collateral? Sure.
Yeah, I'm good for it, boss. Just kidding.
Well, we want to end off with one thing on technology, and then
child gambling is illegal. Don't do that, please.
Yeah, because
is that our topic for technology?
That's
is that what we're talking about here?
Let's talk about technology.
No, so this one I put in here because I have to give a shout out to my boy Casey Faris. I say my boy, we've never met. He doesn't know who I am. He probably doesn't even know that we exist.
But what if he does know and he just stays quiet about it?
That'd be amazing. I would love that. Maybe he's one of our 19 subscribers on YouTube.
I have 19.
Yeah, we do.
Sorry,
right?
correction. You have 19?
Yeah.
I just visit here. And then
Friend
make
of
up
the
reasons
show.
why I can't be here.
I was hanging out with my buddy the other day, and I said something about, like, oh, I have these business cards, which I do have right here. These handy-dandy business cards that have the Chris and Andre Show logo, and then QR code on the back to our YouTube
That's dope
page.
as hell.
Right? Super cool. Always forget to carry these around with me. And so I'm like, I would give you one if I had it. And he's like, that's cool. I've got my computer right here. I'll just go to YouTube. And so, like, that's how I added another subscriber, by standing over my friend's shoulder while he's subscribed to our page. And
You're forcing him to go to this
Obligated.
website.
Look, the gun in my hand had nothing to do with it, okay? Regardless of the fact that it was pointed at the back of his head. No. So we have been working to try and, upgrade and improve just like the overall quality of our videos and stuff like that. And,
why'd you bring me then?
Yeah, I know. From a post-production standpoint, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we always have to edit out your like eating and shit.
Yeah, all that other crap.
No, just your loud rappers. Like you brought, look, I thought it was like, yo, has he got like a bag of ho-hos or some shit?
But yeah, so one of the people who has made my life significantly easier because of his tutorials on Davinci Resolve and specifically Fusion is Casey Faris. He's got his YouTube channel. So if you are hosting your own podcast or you're just getting into video editing of any kind, motion graphics, anything like that, Casey has a ton of free tutorials that are on YouTube. They are super, super easy to follow. He walks you through each and every little step, makes it so that it's not just like, do this one thing, but literally do the thing that you want to do, and here are the steps that you can follow to basically make it happen. And so just because we're all about trying to shout out those people in the community that are helping other people, like we hope we will be able to do more and more, wanted to make sure that we said thank you to Casey for all of your great content, for helping us to improve the overall quality of our video. We've got some stuff that's in the works for the beginning of the new year that we're really excited to introduce and roll out. I'm just going to kind of tease it at that for right now. But yeah, like I just wanted to make sure because I always remember to like, subscribe, do that stuff in the moment, but I don't always remember on the live podcast recordings to say thank you so much to those other people out there who are helping us to make great content, or at least to make content. I don't know if it's great, but I enjoy it, and
I like it.
19 of you have subscribed to it, so
I posted on my freaking TikTok channel, so I mean, there's got to be something to it.
that is worth something. Yeah, no, like Joe, I mean, deserves a major shout out as well.
Yeah.
No, stop that.
Come
Stop
on,
that.
no, it's
I like feeling depressed. It helps.
Okay.
It keeps the chaos.
This human
He's
piece
got
of
that sad
garbage
boy
that you
vibe.
see on your screen right here has
my
done
God,
absolutely nothing to help promote the podcast that he's been a part of for the last several weeks, and definitely doesn't have it included in his profile on TikTok. So
I was actually going to start. I'm actually going to start cutting up some episodes and posting it up there. You got 330 hearts.
Yeah,
Somebody's got to like it. So
no, that's true.
No, Joe, we really do. Like, you are super, like, definitely a friend of the show, and we love having you on here. And also to Casey Faris, yo, you're dope. And, like, I want to make sure I shout this person. The Cosmonaut Variety Hour. Yo, super dope video on the state of DC Comics, so we really do appreciate that.
it's bad that it technically is outdated, but still true.
Yeah, it's very true. I think he posted that joint in like 2017, and I want to say it because I've like had to remind myself. Emergency Awesome and Cosmic Wonder on YouTube. You guys have some of the best videos, so we want to give you guys a shout out. Also,
Screen Crush. That's another one
since
that
we're
I've been.
Since we're doing shout out, if anybody watches this wants to know more about comic book history, but in like a low key, soft energy kind of way, Casually Comics. It's a female-run channel, Canadian broad, and she just does. She's a lady of color, changes her wig every week, which I love, and she does wonderful deep dives into like the awkward history of characters. So, if I ever made a YouTube channel, I would want it to be like hers. So that's just.
So,
What are
and
you trying
again,
to say, Joe? We got a YouTube channel right here. You saying our YouTube channel is not good enough for you?
This is a bro energy environment. Sometimes femininity is more comfortable. Her energy is comfortable.
You saying I don't bring enough feminine energy to
I'm
this podcast?
saying, sir, I have mommy issues, and it's fun to watch women talk about comics.
That's beautiful.
What are you guys
Dude,
talking
I don't
about?
know.
Dude, we started our
barely even
first
know this
conversation.
dude.
You guys are with some weird shit.
Our first conversation together set the precedent of what the rest of our relationship's going to be like.
It's
So
true. It absolutely did.
Now that's dope. Hey, so we're super glad that everybody joins us, and like again, we try to like definitely number one respect the fact that we're trying to do something to help other people, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you like it, subscribe to it. Give us comments. We may invite you to be on our podcast and answer a couple questions.
Whether you
you
take
can
us
always
up
check-
on that opportunity is completely up to you, asshole.
Wait, are you talking about me?
No.
You had me until you said asshole. I'm like,
the
wait a
person
minute.
out there knows exactly who I'm talking to. You've had
But we're
multiple
not doing
opportunities
that.
to respond. I've checked your Twitter page. You've been on Twitter since we've tweeted at you multiple times. You've
Ooh,
chosen
is there some backstage drama?
not to engage
No.
to this point. So I can only assume from that you're not really interested in coming on the podcast, which I understand. But we wish you would, because honestly, the point is not for us to sit here and like berate people or to get into arguments over Twitter. It's for us to have a conversation about this. And so last week we talked about it. We would really enjoy having another person join the show. And you've obviously got a lot of very strong opinions on this stuff. And so we are willing to give you our platform to come on and have a discussion about it. We hope that it can be an honest and a productive discussion. But at the end
Wait,
of the
are you
day,
talking about
After-
that person that?
after-
Are you talking about the person that
after-
trolled you?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, okay, f him.
No, come on.
Oh,
We're
don't
not taking.
f 'em? Oh, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
I'm not.
I mean-
I'm not taking. No, for real. Like real talk. I don't want to take shots at dude.
Yeah.
Like that's not cool.
Okay, I'll take
But
shots
I-
at him. I'm unaffiliated.
Yeah, but again, I'm not trying to take shots at dude because I want to make sure it's actually an honest discourse, right?
and it
Oh,
is
yeah.
an honest
So-
invitation. Like this is not meant to invite
like-
you
it'd be
on
like a-
so that we can like berate you and shut you down and then like make this look however we want at the end. Like we do really want to have an open and honest conversation about this. Like
Totally have an epic rap battle like segment with just him.
No, it's not like that. But I do want to like. And I'm like trying to pull these guys back in, like real life shit back in.
these guys, I'm here
No,
like
these
helping
guys,
out, and
these
you got
guys.
Joe here
No,
like driving the
straight
train
up,
off the rails.
You called dude an asshole, and I don't
I'm
think
in a-
that's
well, I'm in a
that's-
position in my life
No, real
where-
talk. That's not warranted.
You're,
I
you're
do.
correct. You're correct.
It's
I apologize.
I just think
I apologize.
no,
You
don't
didn't call him an
apologize. I just-
asshole. I did.
No,
Yeah, I'm just saying.
no.
Yo,
it was.
chill.
No, listen. It was an easy jab to take at a very humorous situation. Having that said, negativity shouldn't be invited into any space, let alone from what I heard how he handled it. So if you guys invited him on the show for a productive Q&A on what he really thinks about things, all that would only serve just more deep dives and some more thrilling content to dive into. Like, so no,
Yeah, because
I
I
agree
don't.
with that.
I don't. The thing I don't want to leave anybody on the sidelines as we're trying to have like as people like trying to have difficult conversations, right? Yeah. So, and again, like, you guys are entitled to your opinion. I'm just going to say like I'm not co-signing that.
No,
shit.
I hear what you're saying,
My-
and I did. I called him an asshole at the beginning, and I mean, like, yes, I've been frustrated. I think by the way that whole thing was approached, but I do also at the same time understand that discussing things in 280 characters or less on Twitter is not necessarily the best way to go about it. That sharing links back and forth to say I'm right, you're right, I'm right, you're right, is also not the best way to go about it. And so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, yes, we say things in jest, and so Andre's absolutely right. Like, you're not an asshole. We would like for you to come on the show so that we can have a real conversation about this, because at the end of the day, like, we're all people living on this earth that are trying to get through the next 24 hours, right? Or like the next whatever it is that we're trying to get through. And
Unless you're Nick Fury and you're in space for 4 years.
well, apparently, but that's beside the point. So yes, Patriot 1776 US. We really, really, honestly would like for you to join us on the show. Whatever.
Let's talk. Let's have the conversation because
That's his handle?
Yeah,
Patriot
on Twitter.
1776 years? That's actually a pretty good handle. I'll give him that. I'm surprised no one took that. I wonder how long has he had it.
Since 2010.
so.
What? No, I
didn't hear.
that was because I thought, like, when we first started getting
I know.
messages from it,
I
I was
know.
like, this is some Russian bot that just showed up in 2020 or something like that, and now I got to deal with it. And so when I saw 2010, I was like, okay, this is probably like a legitimate person. Like,
Do you think he has an American flag tattoo?
Either that
I
or
don't know. I
Donna.
don't really care.
know. What?
All right,
It's a
so
podcast. I'm supposed to, I make jokes. That's what I do. I'm sorry. Seriously, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm really not. And you are not an asshole. I know I said asshole earlier. I don't mean that. I'm sorry. This is who I am. I've had 4 beers today, so
I want to find a friend that dresses up like a clown on the weekends. I just want that energy. It's not even a sexual thing right now. I just want a friend who does that.
Liar. Such a liar.
We're super glad you joined us. You can always catch us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, TuneIn. And for the adventurous people, if you have your own RSS reader, I use Plex. Again, they don't pay us. They don't pay me to say that, but I'm a big fan of the platform. It allows you to put your own RSS feed in there, get podcasts wherever you want, however you want, phone, mobile, desktop, through my Roku devices, blah, blah, blah. You can check us out on YouTube at just Google us up on, or look us up on YouTube at the Chris and Andre Show. You can find us on Facebook at Chris and Andre.
You can say that they can Google us up on YouTube because Google owns YouTube now. So the search function.
Or
you
can say go to ask.com because Ask Jeeves used to be a thing.
I was gonna say go to askjeeves.com or DuckDuckGo.
Or
you can find us on Twitter.
.myAss.com.
You can find us on Twitter at Chris and Andre. If you have any comments, hit us up at comments@ChrisandAndreShow.com.
Oh man, we didn't say Bing.
God, what is wrong with you two?
That just makes me think of that old clip, the bang up your ass, you're fired.
Yo, if you have any comments, you can hit me up at Andre at Chris and Andre Show or
Chris at ChrisandAndreShow.com.
And for friend of the Joes,
Friend of the Joes. I am on right now. Right now, I'm on TikTok religiously posting up videos, maybe 4 to 12 a day. It's ranging from all content from just coping with divorce and separation anxiety to video games to living with the kids and going to church. The most recent thing that's going to pop up now is Stubbs the Zombie because it's my. It was made with the Halo engine back in the day, and it's so good. I'm going to be posting up videos on that, and then I'm going to post up a lot of other videos on Halo because now that I finally finished my comic wall, I can have time to actually play video games again. It's dope as hell.
Nice.
So yeah, just look up Fire Guy Joe. If you do that on Google, you'll find everything I've ever done with it. You might find my gamer tag. Good luck, because there's some stuff tied to that gamer tag that are difficult to share. It's definitely not safe for work. Yeah.
Good to know.
It's good content, though. Good shared content. I wasn't kidding about the clowns. I love them.
These guys are on fleek tonight. They're just they're on some a different level. So
got a new haircut.
I'm super.
New suit.
I know he got some crispy joint going on.
Right.
So I'm super glad you guys joined us. Yeah.
Good luck. That's all you can say.
If you're on YouTube, subscribe, hit the little bell notification thing. Do all of the things that let us know how much you love us. And if you're on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, they just introduced ratings for podcasts. Please drop us a 5-star rating. Even if you don't think that this is a 5-star podcast, tell us that we're 5 stars. Tell us that you love us. Because
do it ironically,
ultimately,
please.
We're going to get better, so eventually we will be 5 stars, and it will be true.
Yeah. Just pretend
As always, I'm Andre.
And I'm still that guy on the other side of the keyboard called Chris.
God, you guys are idiots. We'll talk to you next time.
I don't know how you ended up with this group here.
We started on really stressed energy, and then we're really fucking energy.
That's what we do.